the school beauty's personal bodyguard. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 1051. You are cute. Early that morning, Lin Yi went to the hospital to pick up Tang Yun as usual. However, after getting in the car, Tang Yun said to Lin Yi, "Let's go to Ningxi Road and pick up Xiaoxio." Oh, Lin Yi was slightly taken aback. She said she woke up this morning and realized her car was out of gas. There was only a little left, not enough to make it to school, so she wanted you to pick her up. Tang Yun shook her phone and said, "Xiaoxio just called me. Isn't there a gas station right outside her house?" Lin Yi was somewhat amused by Feng Xiaoxio's excuse. Really? Tang Yun was also taken aback, then burst out laughing. "Xiaoxio, next time, let her make up a similar excuse. You knew she was lying." Lin Yi laughed. "Yes, she admitted it." Tang Yun also smiled. "You won't blame me for not telling the truth, will you?" "No." Lin Yi shook his head. Given Tang Yun's personality, Feng Xiaoxio's current situation made her want to make her happy, so it was normal for her to team up with her to lie to him. After Lin Yi finished speaking, he quickly drove to Feng Xiaoxio's residential complex. Downstairs, Lin Yi spotted Feng Xiaoxio, dressed exquisitely, standing at the doorway with a beaming smile. Her petite figure, carrying a school bag, exuded an indescribable youthfulness. This was completely unrelated to someone nearing the end of their life. If Lin Yi hadn't been fully aware of the strangeness within Feng Xiaoxio's body, he wouldn't have believed she was truly dying. Feng Xiaoxio, with her usual smile on her face, excitedly ran over upon seeing Lin Yi's car. Tang Yun and Feng Xiaoxio sat in the back of the Beetle, leaving the passenger seat vacant. "Hey, sorry, the car's out of gas, so you'll have to pick me up," Feng Xiaoxio said apologetically to Lin Yi after getting in. "Oh, okay," Lin Yi nodded. "Okay," Feng Xiaoxio was puzzled by Lin Yi's response. What did okay even mean? Tang Yun covered her mouth with her hands and giggled. Feng Xiaoxio was still confused. Lin Yi drove the car to the gate of Feng Xiaoxio's residential complex, then turned into a small street next to it, and after a few turns, he stopped at a gas station. "My car is out of gas, so I need to fill it up," Lin Yi said lightly, without exposing Feng Xiaoxio's previous lie. However, Feng Xiaoxio's face suddenly turned red. Although she was clever and lied without blinking, that was only to tease others. But now that she was facing Lin Yi, Feng Xiaoxio suddenly felt ashamed. Although Lin Yi did not expose her directly, how was the current situation any different from if Lin Yi had exposed her? Feng Xiaoxio never thought that Lin Yi would know that there was a gas station near her home. This gas station was very hidden, in a small street. If it were not for nearby residents or people who were particularly familiar with the area, it would be impossible to find it. But Lin Yi found it, and he wanted to refuel here. Lin Yi got out of the car and went to get the gas pump to refuel. Feng Xiaoxio, who was in the car, covered her burning cheeks and felt a little uneasy. What should I do, Sister Yunayan? Doesn't he know that I lied to him?" Tang Yun looked at Feng Xiaoxio mischievously and said, "Just know it if he knows it, then he won't believe me anymore in the future," Feng Xiaoxio said worriedly. It's okay, he guessed it before," Tang Yun smiled. Guessed it before." Feng Xiaoxio felt even more embarrassed. She didn't expect Lin Yi to have guessed that she was lying before. After filling up the gas, Lin Yi got in the car and started the car without saying anything, driving towards the school. But the less Lin Yi said, the more uneasy Feng Xiaoxio felt. If Lin Yi said a few words to her, Feng Xiaoxio would feel a little more normal. "So there's a gas station here? I didn't know. I came here to fill up tonight too." Feng Xiaoxio pretended to have just learned about the gas station and said, "Lin Yi, you're amazing. You can even find a gas station on a small street like this." "Oh, not really, I just keep an eye out," Lin Yi said with a half smile. "Haha, I just couldn't notice it," Feng Xiaoxio said with a laugh. "Oh, I saw a gas station receipt with this address in your car, so I wrote it down," Lin Yi said. Feng Xiaoxio's eyes widened, her mouth opened wide, speechless with shock. She staggered, her forehead almost hitting the roof of the car. She stared at Lin Yi blankly, feeling her face burning and ready to explode. I'm going to die. This is so embarrassing. Pengzhan Group was going crazy. Can't you just not expose me? Can't you just give me some slack? I'm going to commit suicide. You're pretty cute. Lin Yi couldn't help but smile at Pengzhan Group's outburst. Oh? Really? Pengzhan Group was overjoyed upon hearing Lin Yi's words, her eyes narrowing into crescents. Really? Ha ha ha, Sister Yunyuan, did he say I'm cute? Yeah, Tang Yun smiled as well. She finally understood why Chu Mengyao agreed to let Chen Yushu be her concubine. With such a lively concubine by her side, she wouldn't be lonely anymore, and she would definitely be very happy in the future. Unconsciously, Tang Yun found that she had accepted Pengzhan Group's existence from the bottom of her heart. Being able to be with her for life would be a wonderful thing, but it was just a nice thought. Pengzhan Group's ending was destined to be very sad. Thinking of this, Tang Yun couldn't help but feel a little sad. Pengzhan Group, however, seemed to know nothing about sadness. She was cheerful the whole way, her eyes and mouth curved, like an emoji, full of joy. Lin Yi looked at Pengzhan Group's current state and found it hard to connect her with the sentimental Pengzhan Group who'd written her wishes on her phone. In front of others, she was a cheerful person, seemingly always happy and making those around her happy too. Behind the scenes, however, she was still a somewhat pitiful, dying girl. Lin Yi parked the car at the snack street behind the school. As he got out, Pengzhan Group glanced at the Lamborghini parked against the wall not far away and couldn't help but burst into laughter again. At school, Pengzhan Group was still somewhat cautious. After all, a one-man two-girl combination was a bit too conspicuous. Since she didn't have to compete with Tang Yun anymore, she simply let Tang Yun and Lin Yi hold hands, while she stayed beside Tang Yun, holding her hand. Chapter 1052 Love Cake. To outsiders, she looked like Tang Yun's best friend, and no one suspected anything about her relationship with Lin Yi. It wasn't until they reached the teaching building and Tang Yun entered class 9 of senior 3 that Pengzhan Group and Lin Yi began to act a bit closer. Since they were about to start class and the hallway wasn't crowded, Pengzhan Group didn't hesitate, extending her hand and stepping in front of Lin Yi. Lin Yi was slightly startled. What for? Holding hands? When the first wife was here, I didn't argue. Now that she's gone, can't I get a little better treatment? Pengzhan Group said anxiously. Hurry up, it's my turn. How? Lin Yi smiled and took Pengzhan Group's hand. It only took a few steps to reach class 35, and then he let her go. Even at such a short distance, Pengzhan Group was delighted. Humming a little tune, she happily followed Lin Yi into the classroom. After Lin Yi sat down, she quietly sat beside him, like a young wife. Seeing Pengzhan Group being satisfied so easily, Lin Yi felt more and more sorry for this girl, but Lin Yi was helpless. His medical skills were not good enough, and he could not keep Pengzhan Group alive. Lin Yi, my husband, I brought you some delicious food. As soon as Pengzhan Group sat down, she happily opened her school bag and started talking to herself. Oh, Lin Yi really liked Pengzhan Group from the bottom of his heart now. This was also the reason why Lin Yi did not get angry at all when Pengzhan Group lied to him that the car had no gas. If it were before, Lin Yi would not have spoiled Pengzhan Group like this. I made these love cakes by myself. Pengzhan Group was a little proud. She rummaged through her school bag, then took out a food storage bag and said happily, here it is, dang dang dang, love cakes. Pengzhan Group was excited to show Lin Yi the love cakes she made, but when she took it out, she found that the cakes in the storage bag had been flattened. The heart-shaped pastry, which was originally decorated with some cherries and strawberries, was now crushed beyond recognition. Although Pengzhan Group had clearly stated on her phone that she wanted him to fall in love with her and then die in front of her, thus achieving her goal of revenge, Lin Yi no longer believed Pengzhan Group's words. If it were just a lie, who would get up in the middle of the night to make heartwarming cakes? Forget it, throw it away. I'll make it again tomorrow, this time in a plastic container. Well, every failure makes you wiser, Pengzhan Group said somewhat depressedly. I was so stupid. I put it in my school bag and used it as a pillow to sleep, haha. After hearing Pengzhan Group's words, Lin Yi couldn't help but be amused by her and laughed. You're still laughing, Pengzhan Group pouted. Why throw it away? It's just deformed, not spoiled. Lin Yi took the plastic bag from Pengzhan Xiao's hand, opened it, and stuffed the pastry inside into his mouth. I didn't eat anything this morning, so I'm quite hungry. It tastes pretty good. Lin Yi finished the pastry made by Pengzhan Xiao in just a few bites, not caring about the shape or appearance of the pastry at all. Huh? Pengzhan Xiao was surprised that Lin Yi would eat it all. Is there no more? Lin Yi asked after he finished eating. No more. I'll make more tomorrow. Pengzhan Xiao suddenly became happy again, and there was a little more tenderness in her eyes when she looked at Lin Yi. Lin Yi was moved. And how could Pengzhan Xiao not be moved too? Pengzhan Xiao couldn't even eat the pastry after it was pressed into that shape. Unexpectedly, Lin Yi ate it without a care, and even asked if she had any more after he finished. This made Pengzhan Xiao feel that Lin Yi was really good to her. From childhood to adulthood, no one had ever treated her so well. She had never been in love before, and now that she had suddenly fallen in love, everything felt so perfect. If possible, she really didn't want to die. She was a little scared. The more she and Lin Yi developed, the heavier her heart felt. If this continued, the final separation of life and death would definitely be painful. She didn't want to. She didn't want to suffer, and she didn't want Lin Yi to suffer. Before, she didn't make friends or fall in love because she was afraid of being sad on the last day, but now, everything had changed. Unknowingly, she had friends. Tang Yun and Chen Yashu were her closest friends. She also had a lover. Pengzhan Xiao could sense that she and Lin Yi were heading towards danger, and both of them were becoming more and more involved. Oh, what should she do? Pengzhan Xiao had a headache. Lin Yi, on the other hand, didn't think too much about it. He finished his cakes, drank 2 sips of water, and then casually threw the plastic bag into a nearby trash can. No need to get up so early to do these, it's very troublesome. Lin Yi was also worried about Pengzhan Xiao's health. Pengzhan Xiao didn't have many days left to live, and she got up in the middle of the night to make cakes. Isn't this just waiting for her condition to worsen? It's not a trouble. I'm very happy. Pengzhan Xiao shook her head. I'll prepare it tonight and bake it tomorrow morning. I didn't prepare it this morning and made it now, so it's more troublesome. Seeing Pengzhan Xiao's persistence, Lin Yi didn't say anything more. Pengzhan Xiao was very happy about this, and Lin Yi was happy to make her happy. There's a car race on Friday night. Have you contacted them? Lin Yi changed the subject. Yet, I've already contacted them. Talking about racing, Pengzhan Xiao brightened up again. I contacted those people I used to play with cars with and signed up. But don't lose. I can't afford to pay 200,000, haha, you don't trust my skills. Lin Yi didn't care about these folk racing competitions at all. I just don't have confidence in my car, Pengzhan Xiao said with a wry smile. Their cars are all modified, and ours has a smaller displacement and hasn't been modified. Chapter 1053 Wu Chenshin invites you. Just have faith in me, Lin Yi teased Pengzhan Xiao. Oh? Of course I have faith in you, but the car isn't working, Pengzhan Xiao said. On a winding mountain road, their modified car won't be much use, Lin Yi shrugged. That's true. Who would dare speed on that kind of road? Pengzhan Xiao thought about it and felt relieved. Wu Chenshin went to Xiao Wangba to pick up the car early in the morning. Seeing his company's impressive appearance, occupying 2 floors on the roadside with a bright sign, Chenshin Trading Company, Limited, Wu Chenshin was delighted. He patted Xiao Wangba on the shoulder and said, not bad. Well done. Give me your business card. Here it is, Xiao Wangdao, not expecting Wu Chenshin to care so little about the company's profitability, only about its appearance, immediately felt relieved and handed Wu Chenshin a box of gold-plated business cards. Brother Chenshin, are you satisfied? Well, you did a good job. Wu Chenshin took the business card, glanced at it, put it in his pocket, got in the car, and drove to Sun Jinggai's residence. After parking the car downstairs of Sun Jinggai's apartment, Wu Chenshin called her. He wanted to give her a surprise and give her this car as a gift. He remembered that Sun Jinggai said that she liked Audi cars, but didn't like them to be too conspicuous, so he bought her an Audi A4L. In the huge Songshan city, where wealthy people gather, the Audi A4L can only be considered a very ordinary car. After waiting for about half an hour, Sun Jinggai finally arrived. However, Sun Jinggai today was obviously not as solemn as before. Her makeup and dress were also playful and cute, which made Wu Chenshin slightly stunned and a little stunned. He had known that Sun Jingai's previous mature look was fake, but he didn't expect Sun Jingai to be so cute when dressed up. He hadn't seen Sun Jingai in this style for many years. Wu Chenshin thought that Sun Jingai dressed up specially for him. He was so happy that he walked over quickly and said, "Jingai, you look so beautiful today." Oh, Sun Jingai certainly didn't dress up for Wu Chenshin. Why did she dress like this? Perhaps only she herself knew. Women dress up to please themselves. Who did Sun Jingai dress up for? Wu Chenshin was already accustomed to Sun Jingai's cold attitude, so he didn't care. He quickly walked to his car, opened the door for her, and said, "Jingai, please get in." Sun Jingai was stunned by the Audi TT in front of her and asked, "Is this your car?" "Yes, I started a business and made money, so I bought a car." Wu Chenshin said this with a smug look, showing off his pretentiousness to the fullest. Although he hadn't left home recently, he had read some very pretentious novels, such as Very Pure and Ambiguous Prequel. The protagonist Liu Lei in the novel was very pretentious, so Wu Chenshin had always wanted to emulate him. However, he overlooked one thing: pretentiousness requires strength. Without the strength, you're just an idiot. "Oh, I drive my own car." Sun Jingai declined Wu Chenshin's invitation to get in and instead walked towards his own car. Wu Chenshin's expression froze, but then he thought about how Sun Jingai had never ridden with him before. If he gave the car to Sun Jingai later, it would be hers, and she would want it then, right? Wu Chenshin wanted to give the car to Sun Jingai right away, but then he thought about giving it to her at the dinner table. With Pengzhan Group cooperating with him to show off, and then complimenting him, wouldn't he be very proud? Thinking of this, Wu Chenshin decided to hold back a little longer and give the car as a gift during dinner. If Wu Chenshin hadn't said he was going to treat Lin Yi to a meal, Sun Jingai would never agree to Wu Chenshin's request to go out for dinner together. She would have used work as an excuse to turn down the meeting. But when Wu Chenshin said he wanted to invite Lin Yi to dinner, Sun Jingai hesitated. She hadn't seen Lin Yi for so long, and she really wanted to see him. After all, she was half his lover, and she also had a good impression of him, so it would be very happy for them to meet occasionally. Two cars drove one after the other towards Songshan No. 1 High School. Sun Jingai led the way, and Wu Chenshin followed behind. Sun Jingai parked the car at the snack street behind No. 1 High School. This was where Sun Jingai met Lin Yi last time. She didn't think Lin Yi was a student at No. 1 High School, she just thought he lived nearby. Sun Jingai's car was parked next to the Beetle, and Wu Chenshin's Audi TT was parked next to Sun Jingai's Audi A4L. After the two got out of the car, Wu Chenshin came over and said, "I'll call Lin Yi right away." "Where is this? Should we wait for him here?" "Oh." Sun Jingai frowned and subconsciously took a step, walking towards the nearby intersection. She didn't want to stand so close to Wu Chenshin, which made her feel a little uncomfortable. As for why the car was parked here, one reason was because she had picked up Lin Yi here last time, but the most important reason was that Sun Jingai didn't want to wait downstairs of her house with Wu Chenshin. Sun Jingai didn't want others to see her and Wu Chenshin together. Sun Jingai felt that it would be embarrassing to be seen by acquaintances. As for coming here, it was also Sun Jingai's casual decision. However, Wu Chenshin didn't seem to realize Sun Jingai's disgust. As Sun Jingai left, he followed Sun Jingai and dialed Lin Yi's number as they walked. Not long after Lin Yi and Pengzhan Group arrived in the classroom, the phone in his pocket vibrated. Lin Yi took out the phone and glanced at the caller ID. He didn't recognize the caller. Lin Yi answered the phone anyway. "Hello, who's calling?" "Lin Yi," Wu Chenshin asked. "It's me, who's yours?" Lin Yi didn't recognize Wu Chenshin's voice. He didn't care for people like him, so he naturally didn't bother to remember his phone number or voice. "It's Wu Chenshin. I'm back in Songshan City, with Jingai. I'd like to treat you and your girlfriend to a nice dinner. Do you have time?" Wu Chenshin asked. "With Sun Jingai? Girlfriend?" Lin Yi was slightly taken aback, but then realized the girlfriend Wu Chenshin was referring to was Pengzhan Group. Initially, Lin Yi wanted to refuse outright, but thinking of Pengzhan Group's personality, he realized she might enjoy attending dinners. So, he said to Wu Chenshin, "Wait a minute, I'll ask Pengzhan. Okay." Wu Chenshin was overjoyed. His main goal was to invite Pengzhan Group to dinner. If it was just Lin Yi, he wouldn't have wanted to. Not only would Lin Yi not cooperate with his pretense, but he would also compete with him for Sun Jingai. Chapter 1054. The car was smashed. Zia Oxeo, Wu Chenshin called and said he wants to treat us to a big dinner. Are you going? Lin Yi turned to Feng Zia Oxeo and asked. Wu Chenshin. Feng Zia Oxeo was stunned, then she remembered who Wu Chenshin was. Is that Wu Tixiao? Treating us to a big dinner? Let's go, I love big dinners the most. When? Lin Yi asked Wu Chenshin on the other end of the phone. Right now, Jingai and I are at the snack street behind Songshan City No. 1 High School. I heard you live nearby, Wu Chenshin said. Right now, are you going? Lin Yi didn't answer Wu Chenshin's question, but asked Feng Zia Oxeo instead. Yes, Feng Zia Oxeo had no interest in studying at all. She was almost dead, and she was still studying. She wouldn't have time to prepare for the college entrance exam. So Feng Zia Oxeo happily agreed. Then wait for us. We'll be there now, Lin Yi said to Wu Chenshin and hung up the phone. Lin Yi had no feelings for Wu Chenshin, neither good nor bad. He was just one of Sun Jingai's suitors. If there was any conflict, it was simply the theft of Lin Yi's wallet, which Lin Yi had also stolen. In comparison, Wu Chenshin suffered the greater loss. Especially when he was in Yanjing, Feng Zia Oxeo tricked Wu Chenshin into going to her grandmother's house, causing him heavy losses. Lin Yi was puzzled. Was Wu Chenshin out of his mind? Why hadn't he learned his lesson from last time? Upon returning to Songshan City, he even invited Feng Zia Oxeo to dinner? But thinking of Sun Jingai beside him, Lin Yi suspected he was trying to expose her to the reality of his relationship with Feng Zia Oxeo, to make her realize he was a two-timing person. But Lin Yi didn't care. His relationship with Sun Jingai was crystal clear. To put it bluntly, Lin Yi was just Sun Jingai's pretend lover, a nominal one, with no real relationship at all. So Lin Yi didn't care about taking Feng Zia Oxeo with him. As long as Feng Zia Oxeo enjoyed her meal, that was Lin Yi's greatest satisfaction. After Lin Yi and Feng Zia Oxeo packed up, Lin Yi sent a text message to Miss Dian Tang Yun, saying he was taking Feng Zia Oxeo to meet a friend for a bite to eat. Miss Dian and Tang Yun both knew about Feng Zia Oxeo's situation, so they naturally didn't say much about Lin Yi taking Feng Zia Oxeo out alone. They just asked Lin Yi to be careful and take good care of her. Ziyu Feng, a true cultivator, had a prick on his butt, but after bandaging, he was able to walk. As a member of the Yu family, he naturally had the golden healing medicine and trauma medicine from Doctors Kang and Guan, so Ziyu Feng generously applied them to himself, Wang Kongming, and Li Pangu. However, one of Li Pangu's testicles was cut off, and the golden healing medicine couldn't repair it, so he would have to be a one-egg man from now on. The three of them left the hospital early in the morning. With a golden wound medicine, they weren't worried about the slow healing process. However, while the golden wound medicine was effective, it wasn't likely to heal instantly. It could stop bleeding and heal, but it would take some time for the wound to be fully healed. Ziyu Feng was worried about the car he had just bought yesterday. It was a brand new Lamborghini, even without a license plate, and it was parked behind the school snack street. What if it got scratched or bumped by the street vendors? So after leaving the hospital, Ziyu Feng and the other two hailed a taxi and drove to the snack street behind the school. However, what they saw was not his Lamborghini, but an Audi TT parked in the spot where he had parked before. "Where's my car?" Ziyu Feng was stunned. "The car is over there," Wang Kongming said weakly, pointing to the corner of the wall not far away. Huh? Ziyu Feng was stunned when he saw his car. It was parked at the foot of the wall. The car body was already riddled with holes, dents, and marks of being smashed. The paint had peeled off. It didn't look like a new car at all, it looked like a scrapped vehicle. "My Lamborghini," Ziyu Feng ran over quickly. Seeing his beloved car smashed like this, he was immediately heartbroken. Although he was very rich, the funds he brought with him were limited. He originally wanted to pick up girls, so he bought a cool car, but he didn't expect it to be smashed into this state after only driving it for a day. Who did it? Who smashed my car? It must have been the guy in the Audi TT, Wang Kongming pondered for a moment, analyzing. There are only 3 relatively legitimate parking spaces here, and they're all full. There's nowhere else to park except under the wall. There's a snack street here at night, so if we park somewhere else, we won't be able to see it. So, from what we've seen so far, it must be that the Audi TT thought our car came in later and occupied its parking space, so I pushed our car under the wall and smashed it into the state. Oh? Isn't that Audi TT Pengzhan Xiao's car? Could it be that she smashed it? Is she that strong? Ziyu Feng listened to Wang Kongming's analysis and thought it made perfect sense, but he was a little surprised that Pengzhan Xiao had so much strength. I guess Pengzhan Xiao ordered Lin Yi to do it. Lin Yi is a cultivator, so pushing the car into the corner shouldn't be a big deal, Wang Kongming said. Damn it. I haven't taught him a lesson yet, and he actually bullies me. Pengzhan Xiao, sooner or later I will push you onto the bed and fuck you to death. Ziyu Feng gritted his teeth in anger. Smash them. Smash both Lin Yi's and Pengzhan Xiao's cars. That beetle belongs to Lin Yi. Wait, Wang Kongming waved his hand to stop the furious Ziyu Feng. Mr. Z, please calm down, be patient. Oh? What? He has bullied me, and I can't fight back, Ziyu Feng snorted. No, Mr. Z, I think it's better not to smash Lin Yi's car. Wang Kongming waved his hand and said, Mr. Z, Lin Yi is a cultivator. If you smash his car, will he let it go? He is a cultivator, and so am I. He is only at the early stage of the Xuanyuan, and I am at the peak of the early stage of the Xuanyuan. Why should I be afraid of him? Ziyu Feng said with a sneer. Zishao, you have to hide your strength now. You can't expose it. A secret investigation is the key, Wang Kongming said. Yes. I was almost mad. Ziyu Feng thought about it and realized that this was the case. If Lin Yi was going to cause trouble for him because his car was smashed, he couldn't confront Lin Yi just 2 days after arriving. That wouldn't be in the interests of the Yu family. Even if he wanted to kill Lin Yi, he had to understand his background, otherwise he would bring trouble to the Yu family for no reason. Chapter 1055, just in time again. However, if he had to swallow his anger, he would not be willing to do so. Isn't this too aggrieved? After thinking about it, Ziyu Feng said, then let's smash Pengzhan Xiao's car. Pengzhan Xiao must have had a hand in the girl Chen Yushu harming us yesterday. The idea of smashing the car today must have been hers. Smashing her car can be considered as a warning to Lin Yi that we are not easy to bully, but we can't touch Lin Yi's bottom line. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone, okay. Even if it's just a warning to Lin Yi, Wang Kongming thought about it and nodded in agreement, then let's just smash Pengzhan Xiao's car. Anyway, Lin Yi has no evidence. If we don't admit it, what can he do to us? It's not Lin Yi's car, just a girl's car. Lin Yi won't lose face, what are you waiting for? Do it. Ziyu Feng had been eager to try. He picked up a brick from the ground and walked towards Pengzhan Xiao's Audi TT. Without saying a word, he hit the windshield. With a loud bang, the windshield was shattered by Ziyu Feng's brick. Wang Kongming and Li Pangu, each finding their own tools, joined Ziyu Feng in smashing up the car. Suddenly, the Audi TT's alarm blared, deafening, but Ziyu Feng paid no mind. The louder the siren wailed, the more exhilarated he became, as if venting his anger. Slut, I told you to act like me, I told you to smash my car, so I'll smash yours too. I'll smash you to death, Ziyu Feng cursed as he smashed his car. One day, I'll kill you. You little bitch. Because 3 people were working together, the Audi TT was completely destroyed in an instant. Wu Chenshin and Sun Jinggai were waiting for Lin Yi at the intersection when they heard the car alarm. They were startled, but the next moment, Wu Chenshin turned around, his expression turning extremely grim. 3 little scoundrels were actually smashing up his newly bought Audi TT. Wu Chenshin was instantly furious. Damn it! You even dared to smash my car? You want to die? This is a gift for Sun Jinggai. Wu Chenshin immediately went berserk. He quickly rushed to Ziyu Feng, Wang Kongming, and Li Pangu, swung his arms, and slapped them with a bang, sending Ziyu Feng, who was in the middle of smashing things, stumbling to the ground. Ziyu Feng was completely defenseless, and Wu Chenshin was an external cultivator, so Ziyu Feng fell into his trap without even realizing it. My car. My beloved car. Wu Chenshin stroked the battered Audi TT, nearly bursting into tears. This is a gift I wanted to give to Jinggai, you bastards. You dare to smash my car? Take your life. Wu Chenshin struck again, sending Fat Tiger Li flying with a single punch. Wang Kongming wasn't spared either. Neither of them were cultivators, so they were nothing in front of Wu Chenshin. They were sent flying backwards, landing on the ground, their butts bruised again. Ziyu Feng was baffled by Wu Chenshin's sudden appearance. But after hearing his words, he was puzzled. Was this his car? Not Feng Xiaoxiao's? What was going on? Did they smash the wrong car? But as the eldest son of the Yu family, Zhi Yufang could make a mistake, so what? How dare you hit the young master of the Yu family? Did you want to die? Zhi Yufang had already suffered a lot from Lin Yi, Chen Yusu, and Feng Xiaoxiao these past few days. How could he hold back in front of this strange person? He jumped up from the ground, looked at Wu Chenshin coldly, pointed at his Lamborghini and said, "You smashed my car, your car? That broken car is yours." Zhi Yufang looked in the direction Zhi Yufang pointed, but frowned. "Why would I smash your car, huh? Even if you didn't smash my car, I smashed your car, so what can you do?" A trace of viciousness flashed across Zhi Yufang's face. "You are just an external cultivator in the early yellow stage, and you dare to show off in front of me. You really don't know how to live or die?" Wu Chenshin showed his strength just now, and Zhi Yufang naturally glimpsed Wu Chenshin's background, but he didn't know Wu Chenshin or Sun Jinggai. He was the trump card of the Yu family and had never appeared in public, nor had he had contact with other children from aristocratic families. This was also the reason why he was able to conceal his identity and come to Songshan City smoothly. Otherwise, if he was seen by acquaintances, wouldn't it be easy to be exposed? "Oh my god? You smashed my car, and you still dare to talk to me like that? Do you know who I am?" Wu Chenshin didn't expect that Zhi Yufang would be caught in the act after smashing his car. Instead of kneeling down to beg for mercy, he acted like a dead pig that was not afraid of boiling water. Wu Chenshin was immediately furious. He took advantage of these three ignorant little bastards to establish his heroic image in front of Sun Jinggai. "I don't need to know who you are. What I know is that you are dead." Zhi Yufang secretly circulated his internal energy. He had been holding it in for the past few days. In front of Lin Yi, he could only endure it again and again. But now facing a few outsiders, he didn't need to endure it. Since this guy in front of him was not alert, he would use him to calm the anger in his heart. Zhi Yufang sneered and said, "He's just an external martial arts master at the early stage of the yellow rank. Let me show you what an internal martial arts master at the peak of the early stage of the profound rank is." An internal martial arts master at the peak of the early stage of the profound rank. Wu Chenshin was stunned. Seeing the strong aura of Zhi Yufang, his heart suddenly trembled. He was an external martial arts practitioner, but he could also feel the true key of internal martial arts practitioners. Although there was a big gap between the two, in Wu Chenshin's opinion, Zhi Yufang was probably not weak, and was even stronger than himself. At this tense moment, Lin Yi came with Feng Xiaoxiao. Seeing Wu Chenshin and Zhi Yufang facing each other, he was stunned. But when he saw the unrecognizable Audi TT next to Wu Chenshin, Lin Yi understood everything. Could it be that Zhi Yufang had smashed the wrong car? Did he smash Wu Chenshin's car? It's just that Wu Chenshin is no match for Zhi Yufang. So Lin Yi has no choice but to help him. After all, compared to them, Lin Yi hates Zhi Yufang more. As for Wu Chenshin, apart from being a little bit arrogant, Lin Yi really doesn't have any special feelings towards him. "Wu Chenshin, Zhi Yufang, do you know each other?" Lin Yi pretended not to notice the conflict between the two and asked in confusion. "Fuck, Zhi Yufang is going crazy." Yes, he is really going crazy. Why is Lin Yi like a ghost? He can appear anywhere? He was just about to use his true energy to teach Wu Chenshin a lesson, but Lin Yi came again. Zhi Yufang was so scared that he quickly retracted his true energy. He couldn't let Lin Yi discover his strength. Dear readers, Happy New Year. Chapter 1056. You have to be patient. It had to be said that when Lin Yi showed his wicked side, he was quite evil, even worse than Chen Yashu and Feng Xiaoxiao. Lin Yi had once been a killer, and a killer was someone who would kill at any cost. So, besides assassination, using someone else's hand to kill someone else and framing them was the pinnacle of a killer's abilities. If he could use someone else's hand to take down his target, why not? Lin Yi had a rough idea of the situation. Zhi Yufang's Lamborghini had been smashed, and Wu Chenshin's Audi TT happened to be parked where the Lamborghini had been yesterday. So, Zhi Yufang naturally assumed the car had been smashed by the owner of the Audi TT. And, in Zhi Yufang's opinion, the owner of this Audi TT was Feng Xiaoxiao, because Feng Xiaoxiao was the only one in the entire school who drove an Audi TT. So, Zhi Yufang was probably certain without a doubt that his car had been smashed by him and Feng Xiaoxiao. Ziyu Feng was probably afraid of exposing his strength in front of him, so he didn't dare smash his own car, fearing that he would cause trouble for him. He could only take out his anger on Feng Xiaoxiao's car. Little did he know that Feng Xiaoxiao hadn't driven here this morning, but had taken Lin Yi's car. The Audi TT parked here actually belonged to Wu Chenshin. What was Wu Chenshin's strength? What was Ziyu Feng's strength? Lin Yi knew it all. If these two really clashed, Wu Chenshin would definitely suffer. But Lin Yi couldn't let Wu Chenshin suffer now. In comparison, Lin Yi hated Ziyu Feng even more, and Wu Chenshin was going to treat him and Feng Xiaoxiao to a feast. If he got hurt, what would they eat? So Lin Yi spoke up in time, and Ziyu Feng quickly dissipated his ki. His expression was filled with pain and helplessness. Wow, Brother Tishao, are you going to show off your Iron Hand Kung Fu? Quickly use your Iron Hand Kung Fu to cripple this guy. It's time to show off your heroism. Feng Xiaoxiao cheered when she saw Wu Chenshin and Ziyu Feng facing off. In comparison, she didn't want Wu Tishao to lose. After all, Wu Tishao was going to treat her to a big meal. What's the point of eating after being beaten to death? Really, Wu Chenshin was overjoyed when he heard Feng Xiaoxiao's words. He thought to himself, this chick really has good taste. She cooperated with me to show off as soon as she came. It's worth treating her to a few more meals. With her around in the future, won't my heroic image be established? Sun Jinggai will also like me. Yet, you see in TV dramas, you are usually the male protagonist. Now is the moment for the protagonist to show off. Quickly kill him, Feng Xiaoxiao continued to deceive. This Ziyu Feng was really annoying. Feng Xiaoxiao was very annoyed with him. Originally, Feng Xiaoxiao had very little time left, and in this limited time, she wanted to enjoy friendship and love. But Ziyu Feng just came over to join in the fun, making her extremely annoyed. This guy was simply wasting his life. How could Feng Xiaoxiao have the time to deal with him? So in Feng Xiaoxiao's opinion, if Wu Tishao could show his power and beat Ziyu Feng to a cripple, and make him stay in the hospital for a year or two, that would be amazing. By the time Ziyu Feng came out, she would be dead too. He wouldn't be able to find her to take revenge on, and would probably be hospitalized again out of anger. Okay. No problem. Watch me teach this little bastard a lesson. Wu Chenshin was so excited by what Feng Xiaoxiao said that he raised his hand and hit Ziyu Feng. Ziyu Feng's eyes were full of resentment. He hated Lin Yi and Feng Xiaoxiao. These two never showed up early or late, but always came at the critical moment. Was it intentional? Moreover, was this car-smashing trap set by them on purpose? However, although Ziyu Feng was furious, he was still relatively clear-headed. He knew that this could not be a setup and could only be regarded as a coincidence. A good man does not suffer a loss in front of him, and a gentleman never takes revenge too late. Thinking of this, Ziyu Feng took a deep breath and looked at Wu Chenshin and said, "Brother, how much is your car? I will compensate you." Compensate? Do you think I am a poor man? Wu Chenshin was immediately furious. I want to use you to show off. If you pay me, how can I show off? Of course Wu Chenshin would not let the matter go so easily. Without waiting for him to say anything, he changed his luck and used his Iron Hand Kung Fu to start beating Ziyu Feng violently. Ziyu Feng was so humiliated. He was the eldest young master of the Yu family. He had just arrived in Songshan City for 2 days, but he was beaten twice and injured once by a prank. Is this even allowed to live? What kind of people are around Lin Yi? Why are they all such top-notch people? Before Ziyu Feng had time to think about it, the fist had already hit him. He could only protect his vital parts and squat on the ground, not daring to resist, for fear that Lin Yi would see the existence of his true energy. Lin Yi, you just wait for me. One day, I will return the humiliation I suffered today to you tenfold and 100-fold. Wu Chenshin fought for a while and found that Ziyu Feng did not fight back. He felt that there was no point. Beating a dead man did not highlight Wu Chenshin's heroic spirit at all, so after he was tired, he kicked Ziyu Feng and shouted, "Are you dead or not? If not, get up and pay you." After all, Ziyu Feng is an expert at the peak strength of the early Zhuan level. How could he be knocked out so easily by an external expert at the early Wang level? He got up from the ground with a bit of depression, took a deep breath, and asked with strong anger, "How much?" 5 million, Wu Chenshin said loudly. Huh? Ziyu Feng was stunned. 5 million for an Audi TT? What a joke. 5 million can buy 10 cars. Hurry up, stop talking nonsense. Do you still want to get beaten? Did I beat you enough just now? Wu Chenshin glared and said angrily. Fuck you. Ziyu Feng was really unable to bear it anymore. An external master in the early yellow level actually dared to speak to him in such a tone. He simply didn't want to live, right? Ziyu Feng was already furious to the limit. He had an impulse. Even if his strength was exposed, he had to kill the guy in front of him. If Lin Yi intervened, he would kill Lin Yi on the spot. Even if some forces investigated it afterwards, Ziyu Feng could completely say that he didn't know Lin Yi's background, and it was just a tragedy caused by the conflict over smashing the car. Ignorance is not to blame, right? He didn't do it on purpose. What's more, it was the other party who started it first. Wang Kongming was shocked when he saw that Ziyu Feng wanted to expose his strength. He crawled over and grabbed Ziyu Feng's hand and said, "Mr. Z, be patient. We have to be patient." Huh? Ziyu Feng took a deep breath. He knew that he was a little impulsive. Some things cannot be brushed off by saying ignorance is not the fault. When the Xiao family and the Yu family bullied Chu Pengzhan, it could also be said that ignorance is not the fault. Who knew that there was a force like Lin Yi behind Chu Pengzhan? Chapter 1057, Girlfriend admires others. However, Lin Yi still decisively killed Yubida and injured Paibo. So Ziyu Feng also knew that if he really wanted to kill Lin Yi today, it would be fine if Lin Yi didn't have a terrifying force behind him. If there really was, then after he killed Lin Yi, the Yu family would be in real danger. If the Yu family hid and didn't show up, it would be his own secular lineage that would be in trouble. Thinking of this, Ziyu Feng gritted his teeth and said, "Okay, Wang Kongming, give him 5 million, Wu Chenshin had just said that casually. Isn't that what this thing is? Asking for a high price and then paying it back." He asked for a high price and waited for Ziyu Feng to pay it back. Wu Chenshin's bottom line was actually 500,000. The car was bought for 500,000 and it hadn't been registered yet, so there was no loss at all. But who knew that Ziyu Feng, this idiot, would actually agree? Wu Chenshin was immediately overjoyed. He didn't expect that he could be so powerful when he was heroic. The other party was scared all of a sudden. Ziyu Feng transferred 5 million to Wu Chenshin's account, and returned to school with Wen Kongming and Li Pangu in a very depressed mood. He couldn't understand how powerful he was when he was studying in Yanjing. He didn't even need to show off the name of the Yu family. He could dominate the school directly. Moreover, he didn't even need to use his true energy to deal with those students. He became the focus of the school. He could get whatever he wanted. If he wanted to seduce a girl, he could just flirt with her. If that didn't work, he could just throw money at her. He was basically invincible. But after arriving in Songshan City, it seemed that everything had changed. His handsome appearance was no longer useful. It seemed that the girls here had problems with their taste. They all liked tough men like Lin Yi, and didn't like pretty boys like him? What kind of taste? Moreover, the girls here didn't seem to like money. It seemed that all his advantages were gone in an instant. Lin Yi, just wait. Once I find out your background, I'll kill you. And your girl too. I'll take them all as my own, Ziyu Feng said angrily as they walked. Yet, Lin Yi is going too far. We'll kill him sooner or later, Wang Kongming echoed. Meanwhile, Wu Chenshin's Audi TT had its windshield shattered, making it impossible to drive again. He had no choice but to take Sun Jinggai's car. "Jinggai, can I take your car?" Wu Chenshin said a little embarrassedly. This car is no longer drivable. Sun Jinggai naturally didn't want Wu Chenshin to take her car, but she was even less likely to let Wu Chenshin take Lin Yi's car. Lin Yi and Wu Chenshin were even strangers, and it wasn't certain whether Lin Yi even had a car. Sun Jinggai didn't even know the Beetle was Lin Yi's car. "Lin Yi, you take the passenger seat," Sun Jinggai said to Lin Yi after a moment's hesitation. Since Wu Chenshin's car couldn't be driven, he could only take his own car. However, Sun Jinggai absolutely didn't want Wu Chenshin to sit next to her. Lin Yi's attention had previously been on Ziyu Feng and Wu Chenshin. When he heard Sun Jinggai speak, his gaze turned to Sun Jinggai, and he was immediately amazed. The person in front of him was indeed Sun Jinggai, but she looked much younger and more lively than the last time he met her. Before, Sun Jinggai's dress could be said to be very old-fashioned, deliberately pretending to be very mature. But now it seemed that this was Sun Jinggai's true face. At this moment, Sun Jinggai, Lin Yi, and Feng Xiaoxiao looked about the same age, if any, only a year or two older. Feng Xiaoxiao looked at Sun Jinggai, then at Lin Yi, and couldn't help but frown. What was the relationship between this pretty girl and Lin Yi? Why did she let Lin Yi sit in the passenger seat? Was she here to ruin her and Lin Yi's good thing? Feng Xiaoxiao no longer wanted to fight her love rival. She didn't even know how many days she had left to live. If she wasted it fighting her rival, how could she enjoy love? She had just established friendships with Tang Yun and Chen Yashu, so she didn't have to worry about them competing with her openly or secretly. So, how did Sun Jinggai show up? Lin Yi, what's your relationship with this pretty girl? Feng Xiaoxiao whispered in Lin Yi's ear. Pretty girl? Lin Yi was stunned, feeling a bit amused by Feng Xiaoxiao's nickname for Sun Jinggai. Nothing. She's just a fake lover, trying to trick Wu Chenshin. Oh, Feng Xiaoxiao felt relieved when she heard it was just a fake lover. In her opinion, whether it was a real lover or a fake one, as long as it didn't threaten her status as a concubine, it didn't matter. And since Lin Yi was just Sun Jinggai's fake lover, Feng Xiaoxiao naturally didn't worry about Sun Jinggai competing with her openly or secretly. Thinking of this, Feng Xiaoxiao agreed without hesitation. Then you can sit in the passenger seat, then you and Wu Chenshin can sit in the back. Lin Yi was stunned. He didn't expect Feng Xiaoxiao to be so generous. Yeah, this idiot just got 5 million. That's 5 million. I have to find a way to get some of it, and then we'll be rich, Feng Xiaoxiao said slyly. Lin Yi smiled. 5 million was really nothing to Lin Yi, but since Feng Xiaoxiao was so interested, Lin Yi naturally wouldn't stop her from cheating people. Brother Tishao, I haven't chatted with you for a long time. Let's sit in the back row and tell me about your recent heroic deeds. Feng Xiaoxiao smiled and waved to Wu Chenshin, her eyes narrowed into slits, her face full of admiration. Wu Chenshin was originally upset about Sun Jinggai letting Lin Yi sit in the passenger seat, but when he heard Feng Xiaoxiao's words, he immediately smiled again. If Feng Xiaoxiao were in the back seat, cooperating with him in his showmanship, that would be quite a feat. It would be much more practical than sitting in the front row. Thinking of this, Wu Chenshin quickly nodded and said, Okay, I'll tell you about some recent events. Sun Jinggai looked at Feng Xiaoxiao and frowned. Was this girl Lin Yi's girlfriend or Wu Chenshin's suitor? Why was she acting so enthusiastic towards him in front of Lin Yi? What was going on? Is she your girlfriend? Sun Jinggai asked quietly, glancing at Lin Yi. Yet, Lin Yi didn't deny it. Since he had already accepted Feng Xiaoxiao, it was only natural for him to treat her as his girlfriend. Oh? But she seems to really like Wu Chenshin, Sun Jinggai reminded Lin Yi. Does she? Haha, you'll know in a minute. Lin Yi knew Sun Jinggai meant well, so he didn't get angry. He simply replied. Oh, Sun Jinggai looked at Feng Xiaoxiao's innocent expression, lost in thought. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 1058 Feng Xiaoxiao's True Purpose. The four people got in the car, and Sun Jinggai asked directly, Where are we going? Wu Chenshin was actually not familiar with Songshan City. He wanted to treat Sun Jinggai to a meal, but it was just a sudden idea. He hadn't thought about where to eat. He was a little troubled. He couldn't say that he didn't know either, right? He could only laugh and said, There aren't any great restaurants in Songshan City. They're far behind Yanjing, that's right. The best hotel in Songshan City is the Starlight Hotel. It's a world away from the big restaurant in Yanjing that Brother Tishao invited us to last time. Feng Xiaoxiao nodded repeatedly. A high-end person like Brother Tishao must go to the best restaurant. Haha, it's not very high-end. As long as Jinggai likes to eat, any restaurant is high-end. Wu Chenshin was delighted that Feng Xiaoxiao cooperated so well as soon as she got in the car. But let's go to the Starlight Hotel. Although it can't compare to Yanjing, it's not bad in this rural area. I often receive clients there. Wu Chenshin has opened a company in Songshan City. If he doesn't know much about the hotels in Songshan City, wouldn't it be a bit fake? In order to prevent Sun Jinggai from suspecting anything, he just followed Feng Xiaoxiao's words and went to the Starlight Hotel. And he was very grateful to Feng Xiaoxiao in his heart. Too cooperative. Brother Chenshin, what did you say just now? Receiving customers? Did you open a company here? Feng Xiaoxiao asked. When Wu Chenshin heard what Feng Xiaoxiao said, he almost knelt down and kowtowed to her. You are really my mother, you know me too well. This level of cooperation is simply the best in the world. I was just about to lead the topic to the company I opened. Haha, I opened a trading company, this is my business card, Wu Chenshin said, and took out his business card box from his pocket, pulled out a few business cards from it, and gave one to Feng Xiaoxiao, Lin Yi and Sun Jinggai respectively. Sun Jinggai was driving, so after taking the business card, she casually threw it aside, and Lin Yi, after taking a look at it, also put it in his pocket. Only Feng Xiaoxiao, after picking up the business card, widened his eyes in surprise. Wow! Is this the legendary gold-plated business card? So awesome! I heard that only the CEOs of the world's top companies use this kind of high-end business card, right? It's a symbol of identity for successful people. It's just an ordinary business card. Wu Chenshin felt refreshed. For such a big company, it would be unreasonable not to have something to show off. That's true. Feng Xiaoxiao nodded and said, it seems that your company is quite big, Brother Chenshin. It must be very profitable, right? It's okay, just for pocket money. Wu Chenshin nodded mysteriously. The profit of one day can only buy a few Audi TTs. Wow. So amazing. I have saved pocket money for several years to buy an Audi TT, and Brother Chenshin, you can buy several in a day. Feng Xiaoxiao widened her eyes, twinkling and sparkling, full of little stars. This is just the beginning. We'll make even more money in the future, Wu Chenshin said smugly. So, should I call you Brother Chenshin or Mr. Wu? Feng Xiaoxiao asked. Haha, either is fine, either is fine. Wu Chenshin felt his every pore tingling with joy. This Feng Xiaoxiao was practically tailor-made for his pretentious career. The Wu family is one of the aristocratic families. With their resources and connections, it's easy to make money by opening a company. Anyone who's not a fool or an idiot can make money running a business, Sun Jinggai said coldly. Huh? Wu Chenshin was stunned, his face suddenly looking a little embarrassed. Sun Jinggai was actually right. If a child of an aristocratic family went into business, they wouldn't lose money. They have connections all over the place, and basically, as long as they found the right path, they would make a fortune. But Wu Chenshin had no intention of running a business. He only set up a company to show off in front of Sun Jinggai, so he really didn't make a penny and even lost money. According to Sun Jinggai, he was a fool and an idiot. But Wu Chenshin couldn't refute it. If he refuted it, it would only confirm the fact that he was an idiot. That's right, but that also depends on how much you earn. There are not many people like Brother Chenshin who make a fortune every day. This also shows that Brother Chenshin is a very powerful person, Feng Xiaoxiao said. When Wu Chenshin heard what Feng Xiaoxiao said, his eyebrows suddenly lit up. This Feng Xiaoxiao was just to his liking. It was so good. She solved his embarrassment with just one sentence. He made himself a leader among the children of aristocratic families. Haha, I'm just a little better than the average person, Wu Chenshin said proudly. Yet, just now, saw how imposing Brother Chenshin was when he taught those car-smashing scoundrels a lesson, Feng Xiaoxiao said admiringly. Brother Chenshin, do you think I look like someone without money? I'm so imposing, haha, that's right, a bunch of scoundrels, smashing up a car and thinking they'll just pay you back. You're dreaming. If I hadn't beaten them so hard they didn't even recognize each other, I wouldn't be Wu Tixiao. Wu Chenshin burst into laughter. He had already accepted the nickname Wu Tixiao, which he found quite impressive. Yet, that little bit of money they paid out is nothing in Brother Chenshin's eyes. It's just a day's profit, right? Feng Xiaoxiao asked. Of course, 5 million is nothing to me, Wu Chenshin nodded in agreement. Just a day's profit, right? Yeah, that's what I was saying. Brother Chenshin asked them for money because he wanted to teach them a lesson, so they wouldn't smash cars so easily in the future, Feng Xiaoxiao nodded. That's right, otherwise the 5 million wouldn't be enough to fill the gaps in my teeth, Wu Chenshin said pretentiously. Oh, but 5 million is a small amount of money for Brother Chenshin, but for a poor man like me, it's a lot of money. Brother Chenshin, how about you give me the money and I'll buy a nice car? You wouldn't be interested in this money anyway, Feng Xiaoxiao said seriously. Huh? Wu Chenshin's eyes widened in shock. He didn't expect Feng Xiaoxiao to actually ask him for money. Sun Jingyi was driving in the front. After hearing what Feng Xiaoxiao said, her hands trembled and the car almost went off the track. She finally understood what Feng Xiaoxiao meant by her previous words. It turned out that she was setting a trap for Wu Chenshin. She had pushed Wu Chenshin to such a height that he couldn't get down. If he didn't give her the money, his previous words would be nothing but boasting. Sun Jingyi finally understood why Lin Yi didn't care at all about his girlfriend's admiration for Wu Chenshin. It turned out that Lin Yi didn't care, but he had already made up his mind. I know that Feng Xiaoxiao doesn't admire Wu Chenshin at all, but wants to trick him. Chapter 1059, Step-by-Step Deception. Moreover, this trick was gradual, making Wu Chenshin fall into the trap without knowing it, without any defense at all. The frog in the boiling water pushed Wu Chenshin to height. If Wu Chenshin did not agree to Feng Xiaoxiao's request, then his previous tall image would collapse in an instant, and he would fall from the high platform. Sun Jingyi knew exactly what kind of person Wu Chenshin was. He was ambitious and fond of showing off. To put it nicely, he liked to be in the spotlight. To put it bluntly, he liked to pretend. Although it was not very polite for a girl to say this, it was okay to think about it. Before, Feng Xiaoxiao had cooperated with Wu Chenshin to pretend to be cool, and she had built Wu Chenshin's image into an extremely powerful business tycoon, making a fortune every day, and even 5 million was not in his eyes. Sun Jingyi also understood why Wu Chenshin was bragging in front of her. He wanted to show off in front of her so that she would admire him. However, Wu Chenshin's plan was a complete failure. Sun Jingyi knew exactly what kind of person he was, and she didn't like his brainless arrogance. She preferred intelligent men, and of course, capable men. Lin Yi seemed to agree with the first point, but his ability remained to be seen. In Sun Jingyi's eyes, Lin Yi was merely a potential boyfriend, so she didn't care about his relationship with Feng Xiaoxiao. She hadn't made up her mind yet, so there was no point in getting involved. Even if she did, she wasn't sure Lin Yi would be accepted by the family. So, in this situation, she wouldn't react. From the day she ran away from home, she saw only two possible paths for love: find a man strong enough, even stronger than Wu Chenshin, to silence the family. Or find a man she loved, secretly be with him, and live a shady life, at least outwardly, without revealing their relationship. After it was made public, it was nothing for Sun Jingyi, but she was afraid that the family would secretly retaliate against a man. In that case, it would be equivalent to harming others. In order to avoid this situation, if Sun Jingyi chose the second way, she would take the initiative to give up her status and be willing to be an underground lover. At least on the surface, she had to let the man have a normal and complete family to confuse the Sun family. As for elopement, Sun Jingyi had never thought about it at all. It was simply unrealistic. The Sun family has a wide network of contacts and informants. You can hide it for a while, but not forever. There will always be a day when it is exposed, and then there will be big trouble. Sometimes Sun Jingyi would be very sad. Both her parents are dead. Her status in the Sun family is a bit like a grandmother who doesn't love her and an uncle who doesn't love her. If the old man of the Sun family was not still alive and doted on her, her uncles and aunts would probably have forced her into debt and long ago. Doing business in Songshan City, without the tacit consent of Mr. Sun, she would have been caught and married to Wu Chenshin long ago. How could she wait for Wu Chenshin to catch up with her? So in Sun Jingyi's heart, she has a natural dislike for Wu Chenshin, not to mention liking him. Now that Wu Chenshin is humiliated in front of Feng Xiaoxiao, she is also very happy to see this. It would be best if Feng Xiaoxiao came to humiliate Wu Chenshin every day, so that he could not stay in Songshan City. At this moment, Wu Chenshin's face flushed, and he didn't know how to answer. Yes, although he was a bit fierce, but no matter how fierce he was, he knew that money was a good thing. The fund for picking up girls that he brought from the Wu family this time was only 10 million, and he earned 5 million in one go. He was very happy and thought about using this 5 million to show off. In the end, he did show off, but it didn't achieve the effect he expected. In his opinion, this 5 million should be used several times, right? Now it's all used up after one time. Isn't it too expensive? At this rate, he can't even use this 10 million twice. However, some things had already been said. If he regretted it now, not only would his image be ruined, but he was also worried that Feng Xiaoxiao would get angry this time and stop cooperating with him in the future. How would his heroic image stand out then? Thinking of this, Wu Chenshin could only reluctantly give up. He gritted his teeth and pretended to be nonchalant and said to Pengzhan Group with a smile, okay, it's just 5 million, right? No big deal. Give me your card number and I'll transfer it to you right now. Haha, I knew it, brother Chenshin is quite generous. A man like you, whoever marries you will be so happy, I guess they will die of joy, Pengzhan Group complimented happily. However, this was a bit ironic. Death of joy, that's right, whoever marries Wu Chenshin will probably die. He hasn't even done anything yet, and he's already given away 5 million. If time goes on, won't he have given away all his wealth? Who would dare to marry a man like him? Sun Jingyi also heard the irony in this and couldn't help but laugh. Pengzhan Group, what a shrew. She got the advantage but still refused to take it for granted. What was even funnier was that Wu Chenshin, that fool, hadn't noticed anything wrong and was grinning idiotically. Haha, don't be obsessed with me, I already have someone I love. Wu Chenshin was very pleased with Pengzhan Group's praise, laughing as he made a phone call to transfer the money. Sun Jingyi glanced at Lin Yi and found him calm, as if this was nothing new to him. She couldn't help but frown, and her curiosity about Lin Yi grew even stronger. 5 million yuan might not be much for the Sun family, but for Sun Jingyi right now, it was a huge sum. Sun Jingyi's trading company didn't even make 5 million yuan in annual profits, and yet Lin Yi's wife had easily coaxed 5 million yuan out of him, and Lin Yi didn't seem to care at all? Was he feigning composure, or did he simply not care about the money? Judging from Pengzhan Group's appearance, she must have been born into a relatively wealthy family, but not a super rich one. Otherwise, she wouldn't have set her sights on Wu Chenshin's 5 million. But Lin Yi didn't like it. They were a strange pairing, weren't they? Sun Jingyi drove into the Starlight Brilliant Hotel parking lot and parked in a random empty spot. It was morning, and there were few people dining here. Many of the cars here were also guests, sitting in groups of 3 or 4. The 4 of them got out of the car, and soon a doorman came over and led them into the hotel lobby. Chapter 1060, Continue to Cheat People. Sir, are there 4 of you? After entering the hotel lobby, a waiter came over and asked Wu Chenshin and Lin Yi. Yes, give us a private room, Wu Chenshin nodded and said. Sir, you 4 are here for breakfast, right? How about a booth? There's a minimum charge for private rooms, and they're very quiet at this time. No one's there, the waiter kindly reminded. After all, most people who come to the hotel this morning are here for breakfast, and even if breakfast is expensive, it's not very expensive. It's impossible to come up with tens of thousands of dollars all at once, which wouldn't even cover the minimum charge for a private room. Wu Chenshin frowned when he heard this. He had finally treated Sun Jingyi to a meal, and he was just trying to show off. Now the waiter's words made Wu Chenshin feel like he was looking down on him. What kind of status did he have? How could the grandson of the aristocratic Wu family care about the minimum charge? Moreover, he was now the big boss of Songshan City, so he could still afford a meal. What's the minimum consumption? Wu Chenshin frowned and asked impatiently. The waiter here is also a master who can read people's expressions. When he saw Wu Chenshin asking this, he knew that he was a little impatient. He didn't care about the minimum consumption, he was rich. But the doorman had told him before that these people came in an Audi A4L. How much does an Audi A4L cost? Even if these people are rich, they may not spend tens of thousands on a meal, right? Thinking of this, the waiter was a little unsure of Wu Chenshin's consumption level. The private rooms here are also divided into grades. If he said too much, he was afraid that Wu Chenshin could not afford it and would be angry and embarrassed. If he said too little, he was afraid that Wu Chenshin would think it was too cheap and look down on him. Brother Chenshin is a big boss, his business cards are made of gold, how could he care about this minimum consumption? Pengzhan Group said. Today, Brother Chenshin's car was smashed, and someone compensated him with 5 million. He didn't even look at it, and just gave me the money. Such a high-class person, and you actually questioned him for not being able to afford the minimum consumption. Wu Chenshin glanced at Pengzhan Group and thought to himself, you girl really know how to save my face. Very good, it seems that the 5 million is worth it. If you can improve my image in front of Sun Jingyi today and let me win the beauty, then this money will not be wasted. Huh? The waiter was stunned after hearing what Pengzhan Group said. So he drove an Audi A4L because his car was smashed. What kind of car can be compensated with 5 million for being smashed? It must be a Bentley or Rolls-Royce, right? Moreover, Wu Chenshin didn't care about the compensation money and gave it to people around him. How rich must he be? Business cards are made of gold? Now the price of gold has risen to more than 300 yuan per gram. A business card must weigh at least 2 or 3 grams, right? Wouldn't the cost be over 1,000 yuan? Is this a business card for handing out? If an ordinary person got a business card, wouldn't he be rich? It seems that the people Wu Chenshin usually contacts are also important people, otherwise this business card would be snatched up by people. Rich people, absolutely rich people. After the waiter figured this out, he hurriedly said, "Sir, the most luxurious box here is the Crystal Palace on the top floor. It is currently vacant, but the minimum consumption is 500,000 yuan. 500,000, the minimum consumption is 500,000 yuan? Wu Chenshin was stunned. This restaurant is really shady. He brought 10 million with him. After deducting the more than 1 million he spent on starting a company and buying a car for Xiao Wangba, he only had more than 8 million left. He spent 500,000 on this meal. Isn't it a bit too much? Originally, in Wu Chenshin's opinion, a small rural place like Songshan City was a world apart from Yanjing. Even the most expensive hotel would only cost 30 or 50,000 for a meal. How much more expensive could it be? The 8 million in his hand was enough for him to show off several times, but now it seemed that the situation was slightly different. After hearing Wu Chenshin say 500,000, the waiter fell silent. Thinking that Wu Chenshin thought 500,000 was too little, he quickly added, "Of course, 500,000 for a meal doesn't show your nobility. After all, there are only 4 of you this time. No matter how expensive the food is, it won't cost too much." That's right, that's right. Wu Chenshin felt relieved when he saw the waiter change his words. He thought to himself that this waitress was really perceptive and could see that he thought 500,000 was too expensive. It was just right that she said it so that he wouldn't lose face. She said it very well. There were 4 of them and they couldn't eat much. Even if the food was expensive, it wouldn't cost much. Wu Chenshin was feeling proud when he heard the waiter continue, "Even if each of the 4 of you wants bird's nest, shark fin, abalone, and sea cucumber, 500,000 is the maximum. So I recommend that you apply for a VIP card here. With a deposit of 5 million, you can enjoy VIP treatment. You can reserve a top-tier private room at the Crystal Palace at any time, and there's no minimum spend for any of the private rooms. You can also enjoy a 20% discount on all dishes. This is exclusive to VIPs. This VIP card may seem to offer benefits and discounts, but it actually reflects the privileged status of a VIP. So in the eyes of the wealthy, it's not about looking down on them, but rather about them having unique rights. Moreover, not everyone can afford 5 million for a meal card. Who would dare to order those cheap dishes in the Crystal Palace private room if they could afford that kind of money? Even a meal that costs a few thousand yuan would be too embarrassing to eat at the Crystal Palace. Huh? Wu Chenshin was stunned. 5 million? Apply for a VIP card? Are you kidding me? 500,000 already seemed like a lot to him, and now 5 million suddenly appeared? What a ripoff. However, he had come out today to establish an image and show off. If he backed down when he heard about the 5 million, then all his previous image would be in vain. So now he could only grit his teeth and endure. Well, 5 million is nothing, but I'm usually too busy with business, and I can't eat out very often in Songshan. After I get this 5 million card, I'll probably only use it once, and then I don't know where it will go. Wu Chenshin's subtext was, "Take us to the private room quickly. I don't care about discounts, but I'm mainly afraid of trouble. I can't come to eat even if I get a card." "Is that so?" The waitress nodded, not doubting it. But she was a little disappointed. After all, she could get a part of the bonus for getting a card. "Brother Chenshin, why don't you apply for a card and give it to me? You are not in Songshan City, but I am. I will spend the remaining money for you. Although these 5 million are nothing to you, they are still a lot to me." Pengzhan spoke again, and when she spoke, Wu Chenshin almost rolled his eyes. Chapter 1061. 5 million wasted. Ah! Ha! Wu Chenshin's expression was strange, and he felt a little angry. This Pengzhan was really something. Even if she was cooperating with him to show off, she should have understood the situation clearly. She obviously didn't have that much money, and she still wanted to apply for a card? That was 5 million, how could he not care? But now, Wu Chenshin felt a little helpless. He really couldn't not apply for this card. Damn it. Since he had already given out 5 million before, it didn't matter. Pengzhan Yu, I've invested a lot of money in you today, you have to establish this image for me. Whether I can catch up with Sun Jinggai depends on you. Wu Chenshin gritted his teeth and said, okay, then apply for a card. Okay, sir, please follow me. When the waiter heard that Wu Chenshin had changed his mind again, he was immediately overjoyed, but he also felt a little envious of Pengzhan Xiao. This Wu Chenshin really is a wealthy landlord, so rich. He just casually spent 5 million. In fact, the VIP card doesn't have to be 5 million, a minimum of 1 million is also fine, but you won't be able to enjoy the discount. But Wu Chenshin acted very wealthy the moment he entered, so the waiter directly recommended the highest-end membership card. Xia Xiao, go ahead and apply for it. Wu Chenshin's heart was bleeding, but he had to be a good person to the end. He had already promised Pengzhan Xiao, and now he could only let Pengzhan Xiao apply for it. Wu Chenshin felt a little regretful. If he had known this would happen, he would have simply nodded and agreed. That way, the card would still be his. But now, after a few words of nonsense, the card became Pengzhan Xiao's. He had spent 5 million in vain. In just a short while, 10 million was gone. Does Pengzhan Xiao really think she is that rich? But it seems that the image she has of him is indeed that rich. Otherwise, how could Pengzhan Xiao admire him so much? Always say good things about him in front of Sun Jinggai? In fact, if Sun Jinggai hadn't been there, and Pengzhan Xiao wasn't Lin Yi's girlfriend, with Pengzhan Xiao's admiration for Wu Chenshin would have dragged her into the hotel and pushed her into bed. But now, Wu Chenshin didn't dare. First, because Sun Jinggai was there, he didn't dare do anything that would cause Sun Jinggai to misunderstand or feel disgusted. Second, because he had pushed Pengzhan Xiao away, that would give Lin Yi even more reason to approach Sun Jinggai. When the time came, he would push Pengzhan Xiao towards him and tell Sun Jinggai that the two of them would become a couple. Wu Chenshin would be at a huge disadvantage. Sun Jinggai looked at Wu Chenshin's idiotic behavior and sneered in her heart. With your level, you still want to pursue me? Dream on. Sun Jinggai finally realized how powerful Pengzhan Xiao was. It had only been a short time, and Wu Chenshin had already lost 10 million. Lin Yi had long known Pengzhan Xiao's character. She was the type that would bring bad luck to anyone she met. Except for not cheating Lin Yi, she would cheat anyone she disliked. After applying for the card, Pengzhan Xiao happily returned with the waiter. Wu Chenshin transferred the money again, feeling very hurt. Fortunately, Pengzhan Xiao praised him a few more times, which made Wu Chenshin's heart burst with joy again. Now that the 5 million yuan meal card was in Pengzhan Xiao's hands, Pengzhan Xiao would not spend it recklessly. She wanted to spend it slowly and steadily. After all, no matter how bad her life was, she could still live for a month or two, right? She was extremely happy that she had lunch and dinner for the next 2 months. Of course, she couldn't spend it all in one day. So Pengzhan Xiao waved her hand and said, the private room at the Crystal Palace is a bit too big for the four of us. It's too spacious. Let's move to a smaller one. Wu Chenshin almost vomited blood after hearing Pengzhan Xiao's words. He had already got the 5 million yuan card, so why did he change to a smaller room instead of going up to experience the VIP treatment at the Crystal Palace? Although the Crystal Palace didn't have a minimum spend, it would be embarrassing to order only 10 or 20,000 yuan worth of food. Pengzhan Xiao naturally had to be frugal with what she had, so she simply asked for a smaller room. This way, she would spend less money and it wouldn't matter. Wu Chenshin wanted to retort, but was afraid that Pengzhan Xiao would be upset if he opened his mouth, and that she would not cooperate with him during the meal and pretend to be arrogant. So he stopped himself from saying anything and said something depressed, okay, let's go to a smaller private room. It's quieter with fewer people. Okay, sir. The waiter didn't care. The 5 million yuan card had been issued, so it didn't matter where the customer wanted to go. After all, the 5 million yuan was definitely going to be spent here. As for whether they ate this time, it didn't matter. When they arrived at the private room, the waiter brought out the menu and asked Wu Chenshin to order. Jinggai, Xia Xiao, Brother Lin Yi, what would you like to eat? Wu Chenshin flipped through the menu, his eyes wandering over the expensive delicacies. He had already spent 5 million yuan, and he could only eat once, so he naturally had to order some delicious food to enjoy. It was all his money. Wu Chenshin has never tasted many delicacies from land and sea. He plans to try them all today. Even if he doesn't spend all of 5 million, he will have to spend 3 million. Otherwise, wouldn't he be at a loss? Pengzhan Xiao held the card in her hand. Seeing that Wu Chenshin wanted to order those expensive dishes, she felt a little nervous. She wanted to spend money slowly and didn't want to spend it all in one day. Lin Yi glanced at Pengzhan Xiao and couldn't help but laugh, but still said, "Forget the seafood. Zhang Xiao is allergic to seafood. Last time she ate seafood in Yanjing, she got sick when she went back." When Pengzhan Xiao heard what Lin Yi said, she excitedly gave him a thumbs up under the table. Lin Yi's husband is really awesome. She was just thinking about how to get Wu Chenshin to order less dishes, and Lin Yi helped. No wonder that little girl Chen Yushu likes to pester Lin Yi so much. It turns out that Lin Yi's tricks are also first class. Wu Chenshin was slightly stunned, and his face suddenly became a little bitter. Can't eat seafood? Then what are the remaining expensive dishes? In the restaurant, the most expensive dishes are basically related to seafood. If you can't order seafood, naturally half of them will be missing. It's early in the morning, let's eat something light. Forget about those big fish and meat. Sun Jinggai is also a smart person. How could she not see what Pengzhan Xiao is thinking? Lin Yi has spoken to help her. So Sun Jinggai doesn't mind helping her to trick Wu Chenshin again. Anyway, Sun Jinggai thinks that she is in the same group with Lin Yi and the others. As for Wu Chenshin, go and have fun somewhere else. Okay, listen to Jinggai. When Wu Chenshin heard Sun Jinggai speak, he didn't care about enjoying the food anymore, and quickly handed the menu to Sun Jinggai. In his opinion, enjoying the food is a small matter. As long as Sun Jinggai is happy with a meal, that's the big deal. Chapter 1062 Openly admitting his identity. Sun Jinggai smiled faintly, took the menu, and casually ordered a few lighter dishes. While the prices weren't exactly cheap, compared to the delicacies, they were incredibly affordable. Altogether, the dishes only cost about 18,000 yuan. This made Wu Chenshin's face change slightly, but since these were Sun Jinggai's orders, what could he say? What could he dare say? Let me show you. Sun Jinggai handed the menu back to Pengzhan Xiao and Lin Yi. Lin Yi didn't even glance at it, handing it directly to Pengzhan Xiao. Pengzhan Xiao didn't hesitate, ordering a few more of her favorite dishes. They weren't expensive, all of them cheap and delicious. As for anything too outlandish, Pengzhan Xiao naturally avoided them. After all, it was her own money now, and she needed to be careful with her finances. Is that all? Pengzhan Xiao said, handing the menu back to the waiter. Wu Chenshin wanted to add a few more dishes, but before he could open his mouth, he heard Pengzhan Xiao continue, "Brother Chenshin is a big boss. He is tired of eating the usual single-head abalone. There is nothing good here. It is better to change to something light. Otherwise, ordering too many delicacies from land and sea will damage Brother Chenshin's image." Huh? Wu Chenshin was stunned, then waved his hand and said with a smile, "That's right, these things are too shabby. It is better to eat something light. Eating those early in the morning will hurt your stomach." The waiter didn't think there was anything wrong. He already had a VIP card worth 5 million. It was up to him to eat whatever he wanted. Even if he didn't eat, he would have to greet him with a smile for a few free fruit plates. This casual 5 million was enough to show Wu Chenshin's wealth. Who can spend so much money without a net worth of hundreds of millions? The waiter left the room with the menu. Wu Chenshin felt distressed for a while, then he remembered the business of today. Today, Lin Yi and Pengzhan Xiao were to prove their relationship in front of Sun Jinggai. If this went through, then the 10 million yuan he had invested would have been well spent. Lin Yi, is this Zhang Xiao's first time meeting Jinggai? As the host, let me introduce them, Wu Chenshin said, smiling as he stood up and introduced Sun Jinggai. Jinggai, this is Lin Yi's girlfriend, Pengzhan Xiao. We met at the Yanjing auction and got along quite well. Hello, Zhang Xiao, do you mind me calling you that? Sun Jinggai smiled and extended her hand. This was their first official meeting. No problem, I'll call you Sister Jinggai then. Pengzhan Xiao had learned of Sun Jinggai's identity from Lin Yi and wasn't shy about her. As long as she wasn't trying to disrupt the relationship between her and Lin Yi, Pengzhan Xiao would readily accept her. Haha, then I'll call you Sister Zhang Xiao. Sun Jingyi smiled and nodded. Xia Oxeo, this is Sun Jingyi. She is, Jingyi. How should I introduce your relationship with Lin Yi? Wu Chenchen said this, looking at Sun Jingyi with some embarrassment, and handed this difficult problem to Sun Jingyi. Although Wu Chenchen is a little arrogant, he is not too stupid. At least he knows that letting Pengzhan Oxeo and Lin Yi come to have dinner with Sun Jingyi, so as to expose the relationship between Sun Jingyi and Lin Yi, is also a strategy. At this time, putting the relationship between Sun Jingyi and Lin Yi out and letting Sun Jingyi explain it herself is also a strategy. This also shows that Wu Chenchen still has some ideas, but Wu Chenchen is usually arrogant and likes to pretend, so he suffers in front of Pengzhan Oxeo again and again. Having said that, Pengzhan Oxeo has the title of Little Witch in school. How many people have not suffered from her? Haha, I'm Lin Yi's lover. Sun Jingyi nodded to Pengzhan Oxeo with a smile on her face and said. Huh? Wu Chenchen widened his eyes. He never thought that Sun Jingyi would dare to say that she was Lin Yi's lover in front of Pengzhan Oxeo. Isn't this uncomfortable? How could Pengzhan Oxeo agree? Can this meal still be eaten? Wu Chenchen didn't know what Sun Jingyi was thinking. In this situation, she still dared to openly say that she was Lin Yi's lover? Before, Wu Chenchen thought that Lin Yi was too timing and Sun Jingyi didn't know Lin Yi's ugly face, so at today's dinner, he wanted Pengzhan Oxeo and Sun Jingyi to meet. When Sun Jingyi saw that Lin Yi had a new love, she would definitely be angry and drive Lin Yi away. However, the development of the matter was somewhat beyond Wu Chenchen's expectations. When Sun Jingyi saw Lin Yi and Pengzhan Oxeo holding hands in front of him at the same time, Sun Jingyi seemed to not care about this matter at all. Of course, Wu Chenchen wasn't particularly puzzled by the situation. To him, it proved one thing: Sun Jingyi had no real connection to Lin Yi. The supposed connection was merely an illusion. Lin Yi was likely a conscripted soldier she'd captured. Wu Chenchen was delighted. Now, he wondered if Sun Jingyi would have another excuse to reject him. But now, something unexpected had happened. Sun Jingyi had actually claimed she was Lin Yi's lover. What was going on? I've heard a lot about you. Pengzhan Oxeo solemnly extended her hand to Sun Jingyi, saying, I'll have to rely on Sister Jingyi for your care in the future, you guys. Wu Chenchen rubbed his eyes, even thinking he was dreaming. Why wasn't Pengzhan Oxeo angry? She even acted friendly with Sun Jingyi. What did this mean? What's wrong with us, Brother Chenchen? Pengzhan Oxeo feigned ignorance, looking at Wu Chenchen with a smile. How could you let your boyfriend have a lover? Wu Chenchen, somewhat stunned, asked anxiously. Oh, what's wrong with having a lover? If he doesn't have a lover, how can I be his girlfriend? I'm just Lin Yi's concubine, not a legal wife. The legal wife doesn't object to him having a concubine, so why should I object? Pengzhan Oxeo explained disapprovingly. Huh? Wu Chenchen was even more dumbfounded. This Pengzhan Oxeo wasn't Lin Yi's legal wife? She was also Lin Yi's concubine? However, although Wu Chenchen was shocked, Sun Jingyi was even more shocked. She said she was Lin Yi's lover, but it was just an agreement with Lin Yi. She was only Lin Yi's lover in name, not his actual lover. Although Sun Jingyi had some feelings for Lin Yi, she would not take the next step with Lin Yi until she made up her mind. But what surprised her was that such a beautiful girl like Pengzhan Oxeo was actually Lin Yi's concubine. So, Lin Yi had a legal wife? How could Pengzhan Oxeo be willing to be Lin Yi's concubine? This seemed unlikely and unrealistic. Chapter 1063 I'm so depressed. Sun Jingyi believed that in aristocratic families, having 3 wives and 4 concubines was quite normal. After all, men from aristocratic families were very capable, so it wasn't surprising. However, in the secular world, it was a bit strange. Martial artists had their own rules, and the secular world had its own rules. Each level was different. Sun Jingyi couldn't imagine that Lin Yi, at such a young age, had 3 wives and 4 concubines. And from Pengzhan Oxeo's words, it was clear that she and the first wife had a very harmonious relationship, and she didn't object to Lin Yi finding another lover. There were only 2 possibilities for this situation. One was that these women were fools, unable to find boyfriends, and were willing to share a man. But that possibility was 0. How outstanding was Pengzhan Oxeo? A girl this beautiful, it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say she was 1 in a million. Judging from Feng Xiaoxiao's appearance, the first wife couldn't be much worse. Would a girl of her condition really need to share a man with others? The other possibility was that Lin Yi was simply too outstanding, and these outstanding women were willing to sacrifice for him. This was the situation in aristocratic families. But up to now, Sun Jinggai didn't think Lin Yi had any outstanding qualities. Is being abandoned a very promising career? Sun Jinggai frowned secretly. Her curiosity about Lin Yi grew stronger and stronger. This man seemed to be full of secrets. Jinggai, you are also from a noble family. How can you be someone else's lover? Wu Chenshin's heart was bleeding. He was so angry that he was about to smoke. Sun Jinggai would rather be a lover of a small-time scoundrel than marry him in a formal marriage? Why? Why? Is he so weak? But on the surface, he still had to take the posture of an elder brother and preach to Sun Jinggai. Brother Lin Yi is indeed very good, but having too many wives will also ruin the harmony of the family. And Jinggai, think about it, if you are someone else's lover, Grandpa Sun will know, won't he be furious? Really? Is it not okay to be a lover? I remember that Grandpa Wu seems to have several wives too, Sun Jinggai said disapprovingly. Wu Chenshin was stunned, and said with a bitter face, isn't this situation different? Our Wu family is also an aristocratic family. Aristocratic families are not restricted by the rules of the secular world, so naturally we can have more wives. And most importantly, my grandfather is very strong, so those wives dare not scheme against each other. They all respect my grandmother. Oh, I also come from an aristocratic family, so I am not restricted either, Sun Jinggai said lightly. This, Wu Chenshin's face turned a little ugly. He didn't expect Sun Jinggai to be so stubborn and refuse to listen to advice. He told her clearly that Lin Yi was just an ordinary person, and it was impossible for him to play with so many wives. There would definitely be a dispute. But he couldn't tell Lin Yi directly that he was incompetent in front of Lin Yi. What if he said that and offended Lin Yi? When Lin Yi left with Feng Xiaoxiao, wouldn't the situation be awkward? What if Sun Jinggai followed Lin Yi? It would be even more troublesome. At this time, the waiter brought in the food. Wu Chenshin could only shut his mouth and think about countermeasures with some depression. How can he change Sun Jinggai's mind? Damn it, Feng Xiaoxiao is the same. She is not jealous at all. Sun Jinggai is even more problematic. She actually took the initiative to be Lin Yi's lover. What's so good about Lin Yi? Wu Chenshin looked left and right and couldn't see any advantages of Lin Yi. If Sun Jinggai was not present, Wu Chenshin really wanted to slap Lin Yi to death to prevent him from being jealous in front of him. The food came, and Feng Xiaoxiao didn't care about anything else. She started eating with her stomach full, and swept away the delicacies on the table. She didn't care what others thought. Anyway, she didn't have much time to live. As long as Lin Yi didn't dislike her, there would be no problem. But Lin Yi came to take Feng Xiaoxiao to eat delicious food. The main purpose was to eat. Lin Yi not only took the initiative to pick up food for Feng Xiaoxiao, but also always told Feng Xiaoxiao to eat more. So Feng Xiaoxiao ate very happily. Sun Jinggai didn't eat much, she was very polite and was full after eating a little. Wu Chenshin didn't eat a single bite at all. He was depressed. How could he eat anything? The current situation was far from what he expected. As for asking Feng Xiaoxiao to cooperate with him in pretending to be cool, Wu Chenshin gave up temporarily. Now Sun Jinggai's heart was not with him, Wu Chenshin, at all. Even if he pretended to be cool, it would be useless. What should he do? Wu Chenshin frowned. In the current situation, the most important thing is Feng Xiaoxiao's attitude. If Feng Xiaoxiao strongly rejects Sun Jinggai, or urges Lin Yi and Sun Jinggai to draw a clear line, then he still has hope. Otherwise, he has no hope at all. Another trick is to call Sun Jinggai's home and tell the Sun family that Sun Jinggai is someone else's lover, but this method should not be used unless it is absolutely necessary. Because if Sun Jinggai knew the truth, she would definitely hate Wu Chenshin even more. Telling people behind their backs is a taboo. Some people were happy and some were worried during the meal. Feng Xiaoxiao was very happy, but Wu Chenshin was quite depressed. Lin Yi and Sun Jinggai were there to watch the joke. Originally, before Wu Chenshin came, he had prepared several plots to show off, but he didn't use any of them, and now he was not in the mood to use them. Even if Feng Xiaoxiao cooperated, there was no point in showing off. Sun Jinggai's mind was not on Wu Chenshin at the moment. The meal ended in a hurry. Wu Chenshin hailed a taxi and left in frustration, while Sun Jingyi drove Pengzhan Xiao and Lin Yi back to school. As soon as she got in the car, Sun Jingyi couldn't help but cover her mouth and laughed, and gave Pengzhan Xiao a thumbs up. Sister Xia Xiao, your tricks are really amazing. Wu Chenshin lost 10 million in just this morning. Hey, Pengzhan Xiao smiled proudly. She was quite confident in her tricks, but Wu Chenshin was a relatively rare victim. Xia Xiao, come sit in the front, let's talk. Sun Jingyi became more and more curious about Lin Yi, but she also knew that Lin Yi's personality was a bit indifferent. If she asked Lin Yi, she might not be able to get anything out of him. However, Pengzhan Xiao seemed very talkative, so Sun Jingyi decided to ask Pengzhan Xiao for some information about Lin Yi. Chapter 1064, Getting More and More Curious. Okay, Pengzhan Xiao readily accepted Sun Jingyi's invitation and sat in the front seat of the Audi A4L. Lin Yi didn't mind, he had guessed Sun Jingyi's intentions. But Pengzhan Xiao herself wasn't very familiar to Lin Yi, so he wasn't worried about her letting anything slip. Once in the car, Sun Jingyi asked, where are you going? Back to where you were before. Yes, back to Songshan City No. 1 High School, Pengzhan Xiao nodded. Oh, sure. Where do you live? Sun Jingyi asked tentatively. We go to school there, Pengzhan Xiao blurted out, but regretted it the moment she said it. Pengzhan Xiao wasn't stupid, she realized she'd been tricked by Sun Jingyi. She was testing her and Lin Yi's identities. From the looks of things, it seemed Sun Jingyi didn't know Lin Yi and Pengzhan Xiao were attending No. 1 high school. Pengzhan Xiao glanced nervously at Lin Yi, but she was relieved to see that he didn't show any signs of anything unusual. He remained calm, leaning back in the back seat, eyes closed. In reality, Lin Yi had previously concealed his identity because he feared Sun Jingyi would endlessly trouble him if she found out where he went to school. That half-lover agreement had a bit of a kidnapping vibe. If Sun Jingyi came to Lin Yi for everything she needed, would he be free to do anything else? So, Lin Yi had been cautious and hadn't told Sun Jingyi he was a student at No. 1 high school. He simply told her to wait for him near the school. But Sun Jingyi hadn't bothered him again in the intervening days, suggesting she wasn't the type to bother Lin Yi with every little thing. So, Lin Yi didn't mind revealing his identity. You go to No. 1 high school? So you're all high school students? Sun Jingyi was slightly taken aback. She had previously assumed Lin Yi was younger than her, but that was only when she dressed up. She'd assumed Lin Yi was around her actual age, in his 20s. She had never imagined Lin Yi was just a high school student. The difference was too great, wasn't it? Lin Yi was actually a student? How could that be? Wasn't he a well-known criminal? Yes, a senior high school student. Seeing that Lin Yi didn't have any special expression, Pengzhan Xiao told Sun Jingyi the truth. Oh my god. Sun Jingyi confirmed this information and felt embarrassed. She was already 20 years old, and she actually had feelings for a man younger than her? Well, then how come you're Lin Yi's concubine? He also has a first wife. Sun Jingyi quickly changed the subject. Yes, he has a first wife, and I am his concubine. Pengzhan Xiao nodded readily. Aren't you also Lin Yi's lover? I can only be considered a half-lover, in name only, Sun Jingyi explained. It's just because Wu Chenshin is too clingy, so I used Lin Yi as a shield. Oh, so that's it. Pengzhan Xiao was suddenly disappointed. I thought I could play 3 batches with you. Pengzhan Xiao and Chen Yashu had more contact and became bolder. In fact, she was still a little curious about 3 batches. After all, she didn't have much time left, so she wanted to try everything new. It was obvious that Tang Yun was a rather traditional and conservative type of girl. She wouldn't be joining him for anything like a threesome anytime soon. Even if she were alone with Lin Yi, she probably wasn't ready yet. As for Chen Yashu, Lin Yi clearly had no feelings for her just yet. How could Pengzhan Xiao not see that? If Lin Yi had those feelings, Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu would have been swept off their feet long ago. After all, they lived in the same villa, spending every day together. So Pengzhan Xiao set her sights on Sun Jingyi. Pengzhan Xiao was a bit conservative, but the current situation didn't allow for that. She figured, since she'd already decided on Lin Yi, anything they did with him didn't matter. She wouldn't be able to do anything with another man in her life anyway, so she felt a bit bolder. Huh? Sun Jingyi, Upon hearing Feng Xiao's shocking words, nearly drove the car onto the sidewalk and instinctively slammed on the brakes. Lin Yi also frowned with a wry smile. Feng Xiao and Chen Yashu looked more and more alike. He really didn't know whether it was a blessing or a curse to bring them together. Fortunately, Feng Xiao wouldn't live long. However, thinking of this, Lin Yi's heart tightened. Is it really fortunately? Lin Yi really didn't want Feng Xiao to leave. Even if she and Chen Yashu went to the roof together, Lin Yi didn't want to lose her. In just 2 days, Feng Xiao's position in Lin Yi's mind became more and more important. Especially this morning, when he heard Feng Xiao making cakes for him and got up in the middle of the night, Lin Yi was deeply moved. So Lin Yi really wanted Feng Xiao to survive. Lin Yi sighed slightly and became a little worried. Haha, I was just joking. Feng Xiao quickly shut up when he saw Sun Jinggai was frightened by his remarks. Haha, it's nothing, it's quite fun. Sun Jinggai wiped the sweat from her forehead. 3 batches. What a surprising idea. Although Sun Jinggai came from an aristocratic family, she was actually quite conservative. Although her grandfather and uncles also had multiple women, they didn't say they were all 3. Ultimately, it was because the women didn't get along with each other, and no one would truly befriend another. It was simply because men were more dominant in aristocratic families. Sun Jinggai had grown up in such an environment, and she wasn't averse to men having multiple wives and concubines. This was also why she was considering becoming someone else's lover. However, that man had to be someone she, Sun Jinggai, loved. Marrying a mediocre person like Wu Tixia would make Sun Jinggai depressed for the rest of her life. Lin Yi. Sun Jinggai glanced in the rearview mirror at Lin Yi, who was resting with his eyes closed. Her curiosity about him intensified. What merits and abilities did Lin Yi possess to win Feng Xiao's heart? Sun Jinggai could sense that Feng Xiao had no hostility towards her at all. Instead, she seemed to accept her. This situation left Sun Jinggai perplexed. Not to mention the women of the aristocratic families, even the concubines of the past emperors were full of intrigue and scheming. It's unheard of for anyone to get along harmoniously. But Lin Yi managed to do it. What hidden talents does Lin Yi possess? Which of the 2 identities, the bandit student or the gangster student, is Lin Yi's true identity? Or is it neither of these 2 identities? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 1065. Time is running out. Sister Jinggai, please keep in touch with me in the future. I like you very much, Feng Xiao said seriously. It seemed that she was still obsessed with a 3-batch plan and wanted to put it into practice before she died. Okay, Sun Jinggai smiled slightly. She did not rule out keeping in touch with Feng Xiao more often. The key was to get to know Lin Yi better. Sun Jinggai felt that she seemed to have really underestimated Lin Yi. This person should not be as simple as he seemed. Please consider my suggestion. I don't have much time, Feng Xiao said anxiously. Not much time, Sun Jinggai was stunned. Lin Yi, who was sitting in the back seat of the car, also opened his eyes suddenly. Yes, I'm in my 3rd year of high school. I might go to another place for college, so I won't be able to see you often. Feng Xiao also realized that she had let the cat out of the bag. Fortunately, she was smart and brought the topic back in one go. Oh, going to college? Haha, but I'm afraid I can't accept your suggestion just yet, Sun Jinggai shrugged apologetically. She was naturally outgoing, and even when the topic came up, she wasn't shy. If Lin Yi could truly impress Sun Jinggai enough, then Feng Xiao's suggestion might be acceptable to her, but now wasn't the right time. Lin Yi closed his eyes again. He knew Feng Xiao had let something slip, but he had quickly corrected it. However, those who didn't know the truth would be fooled by her. Lin Yi sighed softly. Although Feng Xiao's suggestion touched Lin Yi's heart, he still couldn't help her realize it. If Feng Xiao had lived longer, perhaps that day would come, but now it was simply too late. Lin Yi was a man of strong principles. He wouldn't force Tang Yun to do anything. His unique job meant he couldn't think with his lower body. This time, the car didn't stop at the snack street behind the school, but directly in front of number 1 high school. Goodbye, Sister Jingai. Remember to text me. Feng Xiaoxiao and Sun Jingai had easily bonded, and now they were reluctantly saying goodbye. Lin Yi had discovered that Feng Xiaoxiao easily made friends. Her personality was naturally lively, and she easily gained others' approval. Okay, Sun Jingai nodded, then looked at Lin Yi again, and said with concern, I'm afraid Wu Chenshin won't let this go. I'm afraid he'll cause trouble for you. Oh, whatever. I'm not afraid of him, Lin Yi shrugged nonchalantly. Don't underestimate him. Although Wu Chenshin may seem foolish, he's from an aristocratic family after all. You know the power of aristocratic families. By the way, Wu Chenshin said before that you met at the Yanjing auction. Sun Jingai had wanted to tell Lin Yi about the size and power of aristocratic families, but then she suddenly remembered that Wu Chenshin had previously said that he, Lin Yi, and Feng Xiaoxiao met at the Yanjing auction. At the time, Sun Jingai was a little puzzled. Wasn't the auction in Yanjing the same one held by the Yu family a while ago? Sun Jingai was from the aristocratic Sun family, so she naturally knew about the auction. Although she hadn't attended, she knew that those who could attend the auction were either wealthy or noble. Besides those from aristocratic families, those who could attend were all capable and well-connected. And what merits did Lin Yi and Feng Xiaoxiao have to be able to attend the auction? Sun Jingai had wanted to ask before out of curiosity. But because Wu Chenshin was present, she couldn't ask. Now that she thought about it, she was naturally a little confused. I went there with a friend, Lin Yi smiled and said lightly. Lin Yi still didn't tell Sun Jingai much about his company's affairs. After all, their relationship hadn't reached that level yet. To be frank, the initial impression Sun Jingai gave Lin Yi was actually just a little more familiar than a stranger, not even as familiar as Wang Zinayan. Lin Yi felt closer to Wang Zinayan. After all, Wang Zinayan was the first girl he met after arriving at Songshan City, and she was kind-hearted. Lin Yi had a stronger impression of her than Sun Jingai, so far. Wang Zinayan's interactions with Lin Yi were entirely one-sided, devoid of any ulterior motives. Just like when Wang Zinayan warned Lin Yi about the scam on the train, she hadn't expected anything in return. Sun Jingai, however, was different. When Sun Jingai first met Lin Yi, she had a strong agenda, to get him to pretend to be her boyfriend and drive Wu Chenshin away. The same thing happened later. She hired Lin Yi to steal a competitor's footage, only to be rewarded with the title of his half-lover. Lin Yi had always kept a distance from women like Sun Jingai, who were known for their cunning ways. While Sun Jingai was attractive, Lin Yi couldn't afford to compromise her beauty. However, today's encounter had changed Lin Yi's impression of her. Sun Jingai wasn't the clingy girl he'd imagined. Thinking back on the things she'd asked him for help with, they were all things she couldn't handle no matter what, and she'd come to him out of desperation. And for a while after that, Sun Jingai hadn't called him again to bother him. This made Lin Yi think Sun Jingai was a good person. Although she initially suspected she was taking advantage of him, she didn't treat him like a fool and demand things endlessly. So, Sun Jingai glanced at Feng Xiaoxiao, who had already gotten out of the car, and then she chuckled and lowered her voice. I thought you were interested in something from the auction and wanted to take it away, huh? Lin Yi shrugged. Actually, I'm not a bandit. I just do some guest appearances occasionally, so what's your main occupation? A student, Sun Jingai asked. You really want to know? Lin Yi asked. Yes, Sun Jingai nodded. Murder and arson, Lin Yi said calmly. Ah, Sun Jingai was stunned, but then frowned and said, if you don't want to tell me, then don't tell me. You're lying again. Killing people and setting fires is just like being a bandit. Lin Yi didn't explain any more, so you don't have to worry about what Wu Chenshin will do to me. If you make me angry, I will go to their house and kill people and set fire. Sun Jingai was speechless. Seeing Lin Yi's nonchalant look, she really didn't know what to say, so she said, then you should be careful. Lin Yi nodded, pushed the door and got out of the car, and quickly caught up with Feng Xiaoxiao. Feng Xiaoxiao saw that Lin Yi had not gotten out of the car for a long time, and only got out now, and was a little puzzled. Why did you get out of the car just now? Chapter 1066 Lin Yi's strength. Sun Jingai came to talk to me and told me to be careful of Wu Chenshin, Lin Yi said. Oh, are you careful? Feng Xiaoxiao asked. I think he should be careful of you, Lin Yi laughed. Haha, Feng Xiaoxiao suddenly brightened up. I think so, but you should be careful about Ziyufan. You and Xiaoshu should not provoke him alone when I'm not around, Lin Yi instructed. Oh? What's wrong with Ziyufeng? What's so great about him? What can he do to us? Feng Xiaoxiao asked, somewhat puzzled. Ziyufeng is a cultivator, a master at the peak of the early Zhuan level. Lin Yi did not hide this from Feng Xiaoxiao. Given Feng Xiaoxiao's family background, she must understand the significance of these cultivator levels. Ah, Feng Xiaoxiao was startled by Lin Yi's words, a master at the peak of the early Zhuan level? Is that true? Indeed, Lin Yi nodded. No way? A master at the peak of the early Xuanji stage is so cowardly? Beaten black and blue by a few thugs? And even sitting on spiked shoes, and beaten up by Wu Tishao today, Feng Xiaoxiao was a little unconvinced, finding it a little unbelievable. He is indeed a master at the peak of the early Xuanji stage? Lin Yi nodded seriously, but for some reason, he deliberately concealed his strength in front of me. Oh, Feng Xiaoxiao frowned after hearing Lin Yi's words, and fell into deep thought. If that's what Lin Yi said, then Ziyufeng did seem to be hiding his strength. Whether it was in the KTV that day or when he met Wu Tishao this morning, it seemed that Ziyufeng had been confident enough to teach him a lesson, but then suddenly gave in. Although Feng Xiaoxiao was puzzled before, she hadn't thought of this. But now thinking about it carefully, it was indeed a bit strange, and only Lin Yi's explanation could explain it. Ziyufeng was deliberately pretending to be weak in front of Lin Yi. So what does he mean by doing this? Is he targeting you? Feng Xiaoxiao was no fool. She quickly grasped the stakes involved. Ziyufeng must have an agenda, and it was most likely targeting Lin Yi. At this thought, Feng Xiaoxiao's heart tightened. She didn't know when it had started, but she had truly begun to think of Lin Yi as her boyfriend, someone she cared about, rather than a so-called love experiment or target of revenge. This shift had been so gradual that even Feng Xiaoxiao herself was a bit confused. Human thoughts are incredibly unpredictable. Love and hate often change in a split second. Hate can turn to love, and love can turn to hate. Feng Xiaoxiao's current situation was one of hate turning to love. Perhaps he's just a peak-level expert at the early Zhuan stage? Lin Yi shrugged nonchalantly. Oh, Feng Xiaoxiao's eyes lit up at Lin Yi's words. Lin Yi's presence at the auction meant he must have some understanding of the aristocratic families. It was perfectly normal for him to know the hierarchy of martial artists, so Feng Xiaoxiao didn't see anything wrong with it. However, the fact that Lin Yi now looked down upon Ziyufeng with such disdain spoke volumes. Lin Yi knew what it meant to be a peak-level Zhuan-level expert, yet he looked down upon him. So, what was Lin Yi's true strength? Was he also a cultivator? A martial artist? Feng Xiaoxiao found it somewhat unbelievable. Because of her father's work, Feng Xiaoxiao naturally knew more about these matters than anyone else. But she also knew how rare martial artists were in the secular world. Wang-level masters were easier to come by, after all, some wealthy individuals often had such experts around them. Many cultivators stagnate after reaching the yellow rank. Without any higher aspirations in their cultivation, they naturally pursue the pleasures of the frivolous world, becoming the pawns and thugs of the rich. However, the profound rank is less common. Generally, masters who reach the profound rank, with a slight chance of further advancement, won't become bodyguards for the wealthy. However, nothing is absolute in this world. While profound rank masters are rare, they do exist. However, Lin Yi, a high school student, actually showed such disdain for a master at the peak of the early profound rank. Feng Xiaoxiao had only known Lin Yi for his strength, but had never imagined him to be this formidable. This suggests that Lin Yi might actually be even more powerful than Ziyufeng. Lin Yi, my husband. Feng Xiaoxiao's eyes widened, looking at Lin Yi in disbelief. You are not better than Ziyufeng, are you? Lin Yi nodded. Since he had already accepted Feng Xiaoxiao, there were some things he would not hide from her. Tang Yun, Chu Mengyao, and Shen Yushu all knew about his strength. What's more, Feng Xiaoxiao's father, Feng Xianlong, was his former comrade in arms. It was impossible for Lin Yi to hide anything. Just a little better than Ziyufeng, Lin Yi laughed. Wow, Feng Xiaoxiao was immediately excited after hearing Lin Yi's affirmative answer. She couldn't help but exclaimed, Xiaoxiao, you are so awesome. You just picked a boyfriend and he turned out to be a Zhuan-level master. Wow, haha, you've made a fortune. Lin Yi looked at Feng Xiaoxiao's cheerful expression and was a little speechless. He didn't know what she was so happy about. What's the use of a Xuan-level master? Ha ha ha, doesn't it mean you're more powerful than most masters from aristocratic families? Pengzhan Group circled Lin Yi, her eyes darting back and forth, as if trying to spot something unusual. No wonder you were able to participate in the auction. You're a master too. Not yet, just late yellow rank, Lin Yi said. But I can usually handle masters who are stronger than me. Thinking of his last breakthrough, which was all thanks to Pengzhan Group, he realized that although he had already touched the barrier of the profound rank, if it weren't for a Pengzhan Group's guidance, he wouldn't have achieved profound rank so easily. Oh, Pengzhan Group was slightly surprised by Lin Yi's words. However, Lin Yi's words were clearly meant to reassure Pengzhan Group. After all, she didn't have much time left, and he didn't want her to live in fear every day. Haha, so don't overthink it. Whether it's Wu Chenshin or Ziyu Fen, there's nothing wrong with him. Not to mention Wu Chenshin, even if his grandfather came, I wouldn't be afraid of him, Lin Yi said with a smile. Wu Chenshin's grandfather, Pengzhan Group suddenly thought of something. That was when the Yanjing auction ended, she provoked Wu Chenshin's grandfather Wu Gongao. At that time, Wu Gongao was so angry that he seemed to want to beat her to death. At that time, Lin Yi seemed to be standing in front of her. Chapter 1067 Old Yu was deceived. At the time, Pengzhan Group didn't think much of it, but now, thinking back, could it be that Lin Yi was trying to protect her? A wave of warmth suddenly welled up in Pengzhan Group's heart, and she was overwhelmed with emotion. Back then, her relationship with Lin Yi hadn't been quite harmonious, hadn't he? Was he willing to withstand danger for her? Back then, if Lin Yi was still a late-stage yellow rank expert, he would have been no match for Wu Gongao. The fact that Lin Yi could actually do this showed how much he cared for her. Pengzhan Group was overwhelmed with emotion, and regardless of being at the school gate, she hugged Lin Yi and sobbed with emotion. Pengzhan Group's tears startled Lin Yi. What was going on? How could she be so fine just a moment ago, and now burst into tears? Could Pengzhan Group have been possessed by that crying spirit of fatty lie? Zia Group, what's wrong with you? Lin Yi felt a mixture of fear and embarrassment. After all, this was at the school gate, and a little girl crying in his arms. It wouldn't be a big deal for someone who knew the truth, but Pengzhan Group was his girlfriend, so how could she not know the truth? Wow, Lin Yi, my husband, you're so good to me, Pengzhan Group cried, moved. Huh? Lin Yi was stunned. How could you be so nice to Pengzhan Group? You were in Yanjing, at the auction. You knew that old man Wu Gongao was so powerful, yet you stood in front of me, Pengzhan Group explained, noticing Lin Yi's confusion. Lin Yi couldn't help but laugh and cry after hearing Pengzhan Group's words. What you said, wow, I'm so touched. From childhood to adulthood, no one has ever been so kind to me, Pengzhan Group spoke sincerely. Feng Xianlong couldn't be by her side due to work, so Lin Yi was the best person to her. Then don't cry. We're at the school gate. It's not good if others see us. Although Lin Yi didn't care much about other people's eyes, this matter was still a little unpleasant, so Lin Yi reminded Pengzhan Group. I don't care. I just want to hug you and cry. Let me be moved. Pengzhan Group began to act coquettishly. Lin Yi felt helpless and could only let Pengzhan Group hold him. Pengzhan Group was so touched by her that Lin Yi finally couldn't help himself and said, Okay, Zia Group, let's go back to school. No. I want to keep holding you. Pengzhan Group relished the feeling of being in Lin Yi's arms and didn't want to lose it. If you don't obey, I won't be nice to you anymore, Lin Yi said helplessly, trying to scare Pengzhan Group. Oh, okay, the tactic worked, and Pengzhan Group reluctantly let go of Lin Yi. Her tears had long since dried, she simply wanted to stay in Lin Yi's arms. Pengzhan Group and Lin Yi returned to the classroom. The process was uneventful. Miss Da and Chen Yashu knew about Lin Yi and Pengzhan Group's relationship, so they turned a blind eye. However, Ziyu Fen, upon seeing Lin Yi and Pengzhan Group enter, glared at them with a hint of resentment. It was because of Pengzhan Group and Lin Yi that he had lost 5 million. Ziyu Feng was determined to get back on his feet. Yu Ren is a small grocery store owner who runs a small business. His family's financial situation is very tight. Because he has no capital, the grocery store has not expanded. The money he earns every day is just enough for his family to live. However, Yu Ren is not willing to let his family always be poor. He is also thinking about making a change. So occasionally when he earns more money, Yuren will buy a few lottery tickets for fun. Yuren dreams of winning a 5 million jackpot one day, so that his family's life will be better in the future. Old Yu, what are you thinking about? When it was almost time to get off work, the owner of a butcher shop next to him came over and asked. Nothing, I'm getting ready to close the stall and go home, Yuren said as he packed up his things. Are you free tonight? I'll take you to see something exciting, said the butcher. Oh? Something exciting? Yuren was stunned. He didn't know what the butcher was talking about, but he shook his head and said, Is it that kind of pornographic show? I won't go. My wife is very strong. If she finds out, I'll be in trouble. Hey, you said you were timid. It's true. The butcher shook his head disdainfully and said, What pornographic show? It's a boxing show. Underground black boxing, you know? Very exciting. Boxing show? When Yuren heard that it was not a pornographic show, he didn't refuse in a hurry. Are the tickets very expensive? Free. The butcher smiled and said, My cousin has a buddy in society. He gave him a few tickets, and I got two. Let's go and see it. As he said that, the butcher put his greasy big hand on Yuren's shoulder, and pulled him away affectionately. The butcher was actually here to cheat Yuren. This guy had a very bad heart. He accepted a bribe of 500 yuan from his nephew, and his purpose was to trick Yuren into watching the underground boxing match. Otherwise, he would not have thought of Yuren for such a good thing. No money? Such a good thing? Yuren was a little incredulous. Even if such a good thing happened, would you think of me? Yuren was no fool. The butcher and Yuren had only an ordinary relationship. He was puzzled that he chose him over anyone else. Hey. Did you watch my stall for a long time the other day? You even helped me sell some meat. Now that I have something good to offer, it's natural that I think of brother Yuren first, the butcher said with a smile. Is that so? Yuren believed the butcher's words a little, but still a little uneasy, and asked, Really? I don't have a penny. My daughter Yuan took all the money I have back home. No money, the butcher said with a smile. Let's go, just come with me. Hearing the butcher's words, Yuren finally felt relieved and went to watch the game with the butcher. Originally, Yuren wasn't particularly reassured, but it wasn't until he and the butcher entered the arena and sat in the audience that Yuren truly understood. He had indeed come to watch the match without spending a penny. No longer worried, Yuren naturally struck up a conversation with the butcher, who organized this boxing match. Is it exciting? Hey. This is an underground boxing match, of course it's exciting. That's real life PK, the butcher chuckled and said, Those are life and death battles. I heard that they won't stop until you're dead. Chapter 1068, Fishing Hook. So scary, Yuren was startled at the butcher's words. Hey, it's nothing to be afraid of. It's quite exciting, the butcher waved his hand and laughed. Will the fight not reach the stands? That would be quite scary. Otherwise, I'd better not watch. Yuren was a timid person. Whether others fought or not was of no concern to him, but he was afraid of getting himself into trouble. This was the tragedy of those at the bottom of society. Their daily thoughts were about when they could have enough food and clothing, and what happened to others was of little concern to them. Old Yuren was just such a person. Look at you, you're so timid. How could the fight reach the stands? I've been here several times. Just watch, the butcher chuckled. At this moment, a young man sitting next to Yuren also spoke up. This man was also arranged by Xiaomule, and his status was similar to the butcher's. Not only is it exciting, but you can also make a fortune. Look at me. I had no money, but after watching a few matches here, I'm now a millionaire, the young man said with some pride. What? Without a penny, he became a millionaire? How is that possible? Yuren was stunned. Although he wasn't interested in the idea of fighting in a black boxing ring, hearing the young man say that he had gone from being penniless to a millionaire piqued his interest. Yuren dreamed of winning the 5 million lottery, so he was very interested in such things. Hey, what's impossible? The young man looked at Yuren with disdain and said, Do you know anything about gambling on boxing? Bet on boxing? Yuren was stunned. You've never played it before? I've played it too. The butcher chuckled and explained the rules of gambling on boxing to Yuren. Although Yuren understood, he was a little frightened. If I lose this bet, won't I lose everything? Hey. Isn't this just a gamble? If you buy a lottery ticket and don't win, won't you lose everything? The young man said with some disdain. A country bumpkin like you deserves to be penniless. Look, I'll show you how to play." Although Yu Ren didn't say anything, he was also tempted. From being penniless to becoming a millionaire, it's simply a legend. Thinking of this, Yu Ren paid close attention to the actions of the young man and the butcher. Before the game started, someone started collecting bets with a tablet computer. The young man directly bet 100,000 yuan, betting on a guy called Red Dragon to win, while the butcher bet 10,000 yuan, also on Red Dragon. Seeing their confident bets, Yu Ren couldn't help but feel a little tempted. He tentatively asked, "How about 10 yuan?" Puff. The young man burst into laughter upon hearing Yu Ren's words, his eyes widening as he said jokingly, "Old man, the minimum bet here is 10,000 yuan. Who's going to bet 10 yuan for you?" "Oh, is that so?" Yu Ren blushed a little, but was also shocked. 10,000 yuan, that was half a year's income. Betting it? Isn't that crazy? What puzzled him was why the butcher and the young man were both so confident in their bets. Could the red dragon they were betting on be an unstoppable force? "Hey, old you, listen to me and place your bet now, or you'll regret it soon." The butcher glanced at Yu Ren and warned. "Is this red dragon really that powerful?" Yu Ren couldn't help but ask. "That's quite impressive." The butcher curled his lips and said, "We won all 3 boxing matches yesterday. We didn't even give our opponents a chance to breathe. We won. I regretted it yesterday. I bet 10,000 yuan on the last one. If I had bet before, I would be a millionaire now." Really, Yu Ren was a little tempted, but still a little worried. 9 out of 10 bets are rigged. In that case, wouldn't the owner of this boxing ring have lost everything? I don't know. This kind of thing isn't a secret operation. It's a real fight. Without a fight to the death, there's no way to tell the winner. So even if the owner wants to cheat, there's nothing he can do, right? The butcher said. Oh, although Yu Ren was tempted, he remained cautious and decided to wait and see. In the end, the outcome left Yu Ren a little depressed, but also a little excited. Unsurprisingly, Red Dragon won. In a flash, he eliminated his opponent on the field. What the young man and the butcher were saying was true. They had indeed engaged in a real fight. 4 Red Dragon's opponents had exploded from the blow he'd struck. This bloody scene terrified Yu Ren, but he felt little sympathy for the victim. He believed that since he'd come to fight in an underworld boxing match, he should have expected this outcome. If someone died, they died. What did it have to do with him, Yu Ren? What frustrated Yu Ren was that he hadn't listened to the young man and the butcher and placed a bet. If he'd also bet 10,000 yuan on Red Dragon, wouldn't he have 20,000 now? Seeing the young man's 500,000 instantly become 1 million, and the butcher's 10,000 becoming 20,000, Yu Ren was filled with envy. He'd missed such a golden opportunity. If he'd bet 10,000 yuan, he'd have earned 10,000 yuan, and that would have been his income for the entire 6 months. But thinking of this, Yu Ren felt even more depressed, and couldn't help but lament his own failure. Yu Ren, why couldn't you be a little bolder? If you'd bet 500,000, wouldn't you have 1 million? But Yu Ren's frustration deepened as he thought about this. He could barely come up with 10,000 yuan, but 500,000 yuan was simply unrealistic. Selling his house would be enough, but he rented it, it wasn't his. A new round of betting began, with Red Dragon challenging another unfamiliar boxer, Aries. Yu Ren wanted to place his bet, but he didn't have any money with him. How could he place his bet? The young man was using a bank transfer, while the butcher was depositing cash. But Yu Ren had no cash and didn't have a phone bank transfer. Even if he wanted to place his bet, there was no way. He regretted it. Even if he had only brought 10,000 yuan, it would have been fine. How could he not have a penny? Suddenly, he thought of a very important question. The young man seemed to have mentioned before that he had no money before, but ended up becoming a millionaire. Could he place a bet without any money? Thinking of this, Yu Ren quickly asked the young man, "Brother, you said before that you could make $1 million without any money? Where did you get the capital?" Chapter 1069 The Last Fight. I borrowed it from the boxing ring. They offer loan sharking services here, the young man said impatiently. Ask later. I'm busy placing bets. I'll tell you after I'm done. You didn't ask before, but now you're asking. Can't you see I'm busy? Anything else, bro? It'll be too late soon. How could Yu Ren wait until the bets were placed? It would be too late then. He wanted to place a bet now, too. Oh, you can borrow money from the casino. Up to 500,000. Just sign an agreement. The young man waved his hand impatiently. He did it on purpose. If he showed too much enthusiasm, it might arouse Yu Ren's suspicion. Sure enough, the more this happened, the more anxious Yu Ren became. He didn't care about anything else. As soon as the bettors arrived, he directly asked for the loan. This kind of good thing is really a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. As long as you place a bet, you are guaranteed to make money. Yu Ren didn't want to miss it. However, the loan wasn't processed overnight. The bettor took out a walkie-talkie and summoned the ring's loan officer, who then processed the process for Yu Ren, while the bettor continued to collect bets. To Yu Ren's bitter regret, even though the loan was approved, the second match had already begun. Bets were no longer being accepted, meaning he could only place bets on the final match. He regretted not borrowing money sooner, missing out on a golden opportunity. Why was Yu Ren so sure of his chances of making a killing this time? The reason was simple. The fight had only been going on for 5 minutes, and it was already one-sided. Red Dragon was completely beating White Ares. Ares had little chance of fighting back, and was soon covered in wounds. Although Ares fought back relentlessly, his efforts were ineffective. He was no match for Red Dragon, and soon his nose was bleeding and his body was covered in bruises. Go Red Dragon! The cheers in the arena erupted again. Everyone had placed significant bets on Red Dragon. Red Dragon didn't disappoint, this time still dominating his opponent. It was clear that his opponent's fall was imminent. Yu Ren regretted it deeply. What a great opportunity. He wondered if he would let Red Dragon play again in the third match. After all, if this continued, wouldn't the ring owner be losing money? Perhaps Red Dragon should be substituted for the third match? The result was unsurprising, Red Dragon won again. Cheers erupted from the stands again, while Red Dragon's opponent, struck dead by Red Dragon's heart, died. This kind of thing couldn't be faked. Excited shouts echoed in the arena, as Red Dragon had brought everyone another fortune. Everyone's blood was boiling. Many had placed large bets on this match. It could be said that this single match had made these people unimaginable fortunes. Just when everyone thought the casino owner was definitely going to make a substitution, another unexpected event occurred. After his match, Red Dragon didn't leave the ring, but instead sat down to rest on the side. This meant Red Dragon would still be in the ring for the third match. This excited everyone again. Could Red Dragon be continuing to compete? Would that bring in another fortune? Soon, the list of players for the third match was announced on the big screen. It was Red Dragon again, and his opponent was once again a newcomer named Black Cat. In the audience, excitement was flaring, and everyone was buzzing on their phones. Secretary Wang? Transfer all the company's money to my account. I'm going big. Yes, that's right, all of it, a bold boss commanded his secretary, holding his phone. President's son? I'm using our company building and all my real estate as collateral to loan me 200 million yuan. Right, you still don't trust me? I'll have someone deliver the property certificates to you right now. Transfer the money to my account immediately, a middle-aged, chubby man who looked like a big boss said into the phone. Dad, it's me. Transfer all the money in the house to me. Hurry, I have a big business. A man who looked like a young man was also on the phone. Son, I'm your father. You must withdraw the foreign investment to me, right now. What's the point of asking for a small penalty now? I'm telling you, if you give me the money now, after tonight, I'll be on the rich list. Another boss was raising funds. Brother Lee? I'm Scarface. Lend me 500 million. This was a gangster boss who was crazy about gambling. He was borrowing money through an underground bank. In the ring, there were countless people making such calls. They all realized that this was the biggest chance of their lives. Red Dragon would actually fight again. They knew that this might be Red Dragon's last fight. The owner of the boxing ring would definitely not let him fight again tomorrow. Such a victorious general would lose money if he fought again. Of course, those present weren't worried that the ring would arrange a fake fight for Red Dragon in the third match. The truth was obvious at a glance, and the ring owner wouldn't do something so outrageous as to incite public outrage, unless he'd colluded with Red Dragon and had him beaten to death. But that was impossible. No matter how much the offer, there was no way Red Dragon would choose to cooperate with a ring and be beaten to death. What good was there in asking for favors if he was dead? Besides, a boxer of Red Dragon's skill would be a pillar of any underground ring. Yu Ren had initially hesitated to put in 500,000 yuan all at once, as he wouldn't be able to pay it back if he lost. But then he saw everyone around him frantically raising funds, and the young man also put in all his money, over 1.5 million. The butcher also put in 600,000. Yu Ren's eyes were red with anger, and with a gritted teeth, he put in the entirety of his loan. Yu Ren figured, if everyone was so confident putting in all their money, it must be right. However, the third match was beyond everyone's expectations. Red Dragon was undoubtedly formidable, and in the third match, he was still very brave. However, his opponent seemed to be quite formidable, and unlike the previous two opponents, he wasn't easily defeated. Of course, the audience didn't think much of it. After all, considering the last match last night, Red Dragon's opponent was also quite formidable, and not so vulnerable. Chapter 1070 Completely Lost. So, while everyone was a little uneasy, they weren't too worried after yesterday's experience. Yu Ren, however, was a little worried. He said to the butcher beside him, "Why didn't Red Dragon knock out his opponent this time? Why do we seem so evenly matched?" "It's okay, it was the same yesterday. It's the last match, so we have to find a strong opponent, otherwise it wouldn't be exciting," the butcher said nonchalantly. Oh, Yu Ren nodded, still a little worried. However, the result of the third match seemed to surprise most people. The situation in the arena took a sharp turn for the worse. Red Dragon was hit by several powerful punches from Black Cat, leaving him with stars and a dazed look. "Ah!" the audience exclaimed in surprise. They had never imagined that the usually invincible Red Dragon would be defeated by Black Cat. "Come on, Red Dragon. Come on, Red Dragon. Hold on, Red Dragon." Many in the audience went wild. They couldn't believe Red Dragon would lose. After all, Red Dragon had taken several punches last night, but he had ultimately turned the tables. But today was different. No matter how powerful Yang Maoling, who had been injected with drugs yesterday, was no more than a small-time thug. Facing a yellow-level external martial arts expert like Hong Long, he was completely helpless. But now he was facing a mid-stage 1-level external martial arts expert. Master Li wanted to kill Hong Long in a matter of minutes. Before him, Hong Long was just a one-move foe. But Master Li didn't kill Hong Long in one move. That would have been too shocking and would have aroused suspicion. So he deliberately suppressed his strength, making it appear that he and Hong Long were of similar strength. The two had indeed fought evenly before. Master Li adopted a gradual approach, attacking Hong Long bit by bit. Hong Long seemed to realize that this time his opponent was not ordinary, but Hong Long was not yet a yellow-level expert, so he had not yet entered the ranks of a true cultivator. He was not very clear about Master Li's strength, especially since he was able to suppress him. He thought that Li Quan was about the same as him. Although Red Dragon had suffered a loss previously, he attributed it to carelessness. After adjusting his stance, he launched a punch at Black Cat. Bang! Red Dragon's fist collided with Master Li's, and a crisp crack was heard. Red Dragon let out a wail, and his arm dropped, his right arm crippled. Master Li sneered inwardly. What an overconfident fellow. With his level, he dared to show off in front of him? If it weren't for the fear of the audience's suspicion, Red Dragon would be dead by now. Seeing that Red Dragon seemed to have suffered another loss, the audience grew worried. Although they didn't know Red Dragon's arm was already crippled, they still held out great hope that Red Dragon could turn the tide. Red Dragon, come on. Kill him. Kill Black Cat. Go Red Dragon, go. Red Dragon is invincible. Kill that bastard Black Cat. The crowd went wild, cheering Red Dragon on. They wished they could get on the field and beat Black Cat up on his behalf. Because they all placed huge bets on the Red Dragon. If the Red Dragon loses, they will lose everything. The sweat on Yu Ren's forehead is getting more and more. He never thought that the Red Dragon, who seemed so brave and invincible before, seemed to be ineffective all of a sudden, and now it seems that he is no match for the Black Cat. Don't lose. Don't lose. Yu Ren prayed silently in his heart, but the situation in the field was not optimistic. And Xuanyuan looked at the scene outside the field through the big screen with great pride, and sipped the red wine in his hand happily. Master Li is not bad, he knows how to pretend. That's right. Congratulations, young Master Wen. Congratulations, young Master Wen. This game will bring young Master Wen more than 5 billion in revenue. The little mule now really admires Xuanyuan. This guy really knows how to make money. Huh? That's right. Don't you see who I am? I specialize in this no-cost business, and Xuanyuan hummed with pride. He is now a celebrity in the Firewolf gang, his prestige surpassing that of his elder brother and giant, and he has become one of the Firewolf gang's economic pillars. Of course, it's my honor to work with Master Wen. Dr. Yin also flattered in Jianwen. There's no way, these days, whoever can make money for the gang is the boss. Even Dr. Yin's biochemical research would not work without N Jianwen's support. And Jianwen is the most daring person Dr. Yin has ever seen. He directly goes to the streets to catch people for boxing and experiments. Even the Firewolf gang doesn't dare to do this easily. Sooner or later, something will happen if they do this. But since there is a little mule to take the blame, Dr. Yin doesn't care. Anyway, the current income of the boxing ring has far exceeded expectations. The previous goal given to Jianwen by the Firewolf gang was to use this underground boxing ring to make enough black money of 1 billion within a year. However, it's not even a month yet, and Jianwen has already exceeded the task. At least 5 billion in revenue just tonight. This hasn't been fully calculated yet. When the results come in, it's likely to be more than 5 billion. Red Dragon was finally sent flying by Black Cat's powerful punch. His chest was completely caved in, taking on a terrifying shape. For someone to still be alive in such a state would be practically impossible. Silence fell in the stands. The audience was stunned. They hadn't expected Red Dragon, the one they'd been so optimistic about, to lose like this. They didn't yell for Red Dragon to stand up this time, because his condition made it impossible. His entire sternum was shattered, his entire body flattened. How could he even stand? They couldn't believe what they were seeing, but they had no choice but to accept the outcome. Black Cat had already raised his hands, and the countdown had begun. Black Cat had won. After a moment of silence, the stands erupted with cries of pain and abuse. Almost everyone had bet on Red Dragon to win. Under these circumstances, no one bet on Black Cat, so they all lost. Suddenly, they went from being the powerful boss to being a debt-ridden pauper. Some were beating their chests and stamping their feet, some were wailing, and some wanted to commit suicide on the spot. Seeing these suffering people around him, Yuren wanted to die. 500,000, that is 500,000, how can he pay it back? Where can he go to pay it back? He only has a little over 20,000 yuan in savings, which is for his daughter Yu Yuan's dowry. Chapter 1071 Excited Pengzhan Group. Just when Yuren was at a loss and didn't know what to do, someone came to him and took him to an office behind the boxing ring in public. Yuren, you borrowed 500,000 yuan from the boxing ring before. When are you going to pay it back? Little Mule asked Yuren with a cold face. He got the order from Master Wen and was ready to get this done as soon as possible, as a reward for Master Li's victory tonight. Yuren was a little dumbfounded. He didn't expect that the other party would come to him to collect the debt just after the game. However, 500,000 yuan is absolutely impossible for Yuren to take out. That's 500,000 yuan. For Yuren, it is a huge sum of money. Hasn't your boxing ring taken back the 500,000 yuan? Otherwise, forget it. This is my first time here and I don't know the rules, Yuren said carefully. Huh? The little mule laughed out loud upon hearing Yuren's words, and laughed arrogantly. Ho ha ho ha. Old Yuren, are you stupid? It's true that our boxing ring has taken back the money, but you lost a bet. If you win, can you not ask for the money? Yuren suddenly became speechless. Yes, he lost a bet now, but if you won, could he not ask for the money? Yuren, I have investigated your information thoroughly. Just take out 500,000 yuan and we will be fine. The little mule smiled coldly and said, otherwise, don't blame us for being rude. Our boxing ring is very trustworthy. We mean what we say. Don't harbor any luck. I'll give you 5 days to raise the money. If you don't pay back the money within 5 days, I will send someone to arrest your whole family and bring them to the boxing ring. Arrest your whole family and bring them to the boxing ring? Yuren's heart trembled when he heard the little mule's words. You mean let me go on stage and fight? Yuren was shocked. With his skinny body, how could he possibly go on stage and fight? Wouldn't he be killed in just a few punches? It's not you, it's your whole family. Your whole family will be dragged to the ring. Haha, the little mule said with a cruel sneer. When Yuren heard the little mule's threat, his eyes almost turned black and he fell to the ground. He was scared, he was really scared. The little mule was different from the average thug. Yuren had a stall in the market. Although he was occasionally blackmailed by thugs, those thugs still knew their limits. Although they would disrupt you and prevent you from doing business, they still didn't dare to kill or burn people. But the little mule was different. Yu Ren saw with his own eyes that 3 people were killed in these 3 boxing matches. These were all human lives. Yu Ren believed that there was nothing that the young man in front of him would not dare to do. What you are doing is illegal. Yu Ren could only grit his teeth and fight back. Huh? Breaking the law? Ha ha ha, Little Mule laughed wildly. You can call the police, but think about the consequences. We're a criminal group, not a small gang. If you call the police, expect death. As for your wife and daughter, I'll help you sell them to brothels in the south to be fucked to death. Haha, Yu Ren shuddered. The young man before him was a demon. The consequences he described were worse than death. The thought of his wife and daughter being subjected to such humiliation terrified Yu Ren, and he quickly gave up the idea of calling the police. At that moment, a boxing ring thug dragged Red Dragon's dead body into Little Mule's office and asked, "Brother Mule, what should we do with this dead man? See if there are any good organs on him? Cut them off and sell them, and throw the rest into the crocodile pond to feed the crocodiles." Little Mule glanced at Red Dragon, lying motionless on the ground, and waved his hand. "Yes, Brother Mule." The thug dragged Red Dragon's body out of the room again and went to do what Little Mule instructed. Yu Ren's scalp was tingling with fear. Aren't these people too cruel? People are dead, and they still want to cut off their organs and sell them for money? It's so evil. However, this also made Yu Ren more terrified. These people can really do anything. In fact, this scene was specially arranged by Xiao Mule, with the purpose of scaring Yu Ren. Otherwise, people would die every day, and if he had to ask for instructions for every death, wouldn't Xiao Mule be exhausted to death? Yu Ren, 5 days, do you hear me? If you can't get the money in 5 days, just wait to go to the ring. Xiao Mule waved at Yu Ren impatiently. You can get out, don't even think about escaping. I will arrange someone to secretly monitor your family. Yu Ren's body trembled. He did think of running away. If you can't afford to provoke them, can't you hide? He thought about giving up the grocery store here, taking his wife and children away from Songshan City overnight, hiding outside and starting a new business. But this idea is impossible now. Yu Ren sighed and could only go home first and think of a solution. He truly regretted it. He shouldn't have listened to the butcher's ruse and come to see some black boxing match, let alone those unrealistic free lunches. Yu Ren stumbled out of the ring. Little Mule watched him from behind, a sneer playing on his lips. Friday had arrived in the blink of an eye. Lin Yi had been driving Tang Yun and Feng Xiao to and from school these days, gradually getting used to this routine. Ziyu Feng seemed to have quieted down considerably. Ever since Wu Chenshin's beating, Ziyu Feng had become much more low-key. If he didn't make a move, Lin Yi wouldn't bother to pay attention to him. Zhong Pinliang looked at Ziyu Feng, who had been instigating the fight for days and was constantly bruised and battered, and a sneer played on his lips. What an idiot. He didn't even understand his opponent's level, and he was still so reckless. Now he's at a disadvantage, right? Zhong Pinliang was now a cunning and treacherous villain. While he remained calm on the surface, he had been secretly observing the conflict between Ziyu Feng and Lin Yi. Brother Liang, that Ziyu Feng seems to be in trouble? Has he calmed down? Go Xiaofu has naturally been paying attention to Ziyu Feng. Humph, a fool, don't pay attention to him. Zhong Pinliang felt that people like Ziyu Feng were no longer in the same league as him. Zhong Pinliang's next step would be a high-level confrontation, and he would no longer use some middle school students' level tricks. Feng Xiao was very happy and excited today because Lin Yi promised her that he would take her to go racing in the evening. So during class, she was in a state of excitement, her face flushed, and she cheered from time to time, which made Lin Yi a little distracted. Although he and Feng Xiao were boyfriend and girlfriend, in fact, Lin Yi and Feng Xiao treated each other with respect most of the time. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 1072 Underground Racing Field. Firstly, since they spent most of their time at school, Lin Yi couldn't possibly do anything overtly immoral in the classroom. Tang Yun was also with him in the car, morning and night, so it was impossible for Lin Yi to be alone with Feng Xiao. Furthermore, Lin Yi didn't want to take things any further with Feng Xiao, it wouldn't be fair to Tang Yun. In Lin Yi's mind, his first woman must be Tang Yun. After all, She was his first girlfriend, and she held a significant place in his heart. Of course, if Tang Yun wanted to play some kind of threesome with Feng Xiaoxiao, Lin Yi wouldn't mind. He wasn't a conservative person, and with conservative ideas, he wouldn't be a killer. Xiaoxiao, what are you doing? Lin Yi had to remind Feng Xiaoxiao that they were in class. Nothing. I just wanted to get to nighttime faster. I'm so excited. Feng Xiaoxiao always wished time would slow down. She didn't have much time left, but today, she wanted it to go even faster. Have you made all the arrangements regarding the racing? Lin Yi asked. Although Lin Yi could contact Zhu Ruiming to arrange a race at the underground racetrack, he wasn't as familiar with the process as Feng Xiaoxiao, and normally, Lin Yi wouldn't bother going to Zhu Ruiming. I've made the contact. I signed up long ago. I've even paid the deposit, Feng Xiaoxiao said. Tonight, the first race is ours. Huh? Paid the deposit? Lin Yi was slightly taken aback. Isn't it 200,000 per race? You have that much money? Lin Yi knew Feng Xiaoxiao's family situation and was a little confused by her deposit. Although Lin Yi was confident of victory, the organizers weren't sure if he could win, so they required each participant to pay a 200,000 deposit. If he won, it would be refunded, but if he lost, it would be withheld. Don't forget, I just swindled 5 million from that idiot Wu Tishao, Feng Xiaoxiao said with a hint of pride. Lin Yi then remembered that Feng Xiaoxiao already had a large sum of money. The race was at 6 p.m., so naturally, he couldn't attend the last evening self-study class at school. Lin Yi told Tang Yun, the eldest daughter, and Shen Yushu that he would accompany Feng Xiaoxiao that evening, and then he and Feng Xiaoxiao left the school. Feng Xiaoxiao had packed her school bag early, as if she had come to school today just to wait for this moment. Where are we going now? Lin Yi asked Feng Xiaoxiao after getting in the car. To the winding road of Balin Mountain. It's a paradise for underground racers in the area, Feng Xiaoxiao said. Do you know where it is? I don't know. Lin Yi shook his head. Let you drive. Lin Yi got out of the car and gave the driving seat to Feng Xiaoxiao. Today, Lin Yi was driving Feng Xiaoxiao's Audi TT, which he had changed cars in Feng Xiaoxiao's neighborhood that morning. Feng Xiaoxiao didn't refuse. She was very familiar with the road from here to Balin Mountain. However, she had always gone to watch the races before, and had never participated in one. Although Feng Xiaoxiao found racing thrilling, she knew her own limitations and was certain to lose once she took to the track. Feng Xiaoxiao didn't have that much money to squander. Balin Mountain was a small tourist attraction near Songshan City. Due to insufficient revenue and other reasons, it ceased operations a few years ago. The reason was simple: there were simply too many mountains near Songshan City. The later developed Xuanyuan Mountain and other scenic areas were even more picturesque than Balin Mountain. The resorts there were also newly built, with better accommodations and dining options. Naturally, no one went to Balin Mountain anymore, and the Balin Mountain tourist attraction was forced to close. However, even though the attraction was closed, the winding mountain road still existed, albeit in disrepair. Some guardrails were gone, and the road wasn't in great condition. But this road had no other purpose other than leading to the top of Balin Mountain. The businesses operating there had all left, so who would spend money on road repairs? Feng Xiaoxiao's car arrived at the open space at the foot of Balin Mountain. It was already filled with a variety of vehicles, ranging in class from the cheapest Alto to the most luxurious sports cars. Near the cars, small groups of people gathered in groups of 3 or 4, chatting, drinking, and flirting. Most of them were men and women dressed in bizarre attire, with strange haircuts, much like Feng Xiaoxiao's old self. Seeing this unconventional crowd, Lin Yi frowned. Honestly, he didn't have much of a liking for these crazy men and women. How could they be so unfaithful to their parents by ignoring their studies and racing? But then again, many of them were spoiled children. How could they afford a car if their parents didn't give them money? Of course, besides these unconventional men and women, there were also some middle-aged men who clearly resembled the gangster type. They had shaved heads, crew cuts, wore tank tops, and tattoos covered their arms, giving them a very social appearance. Birds of a feather flock together. A small minority of those who own top-tier sports cars are well-dressed, true celebrities. Among them are white-collar workers from major corporations and the scions of truly wealthy families. Undoubtedly, these people are here for the thrill. Feng Xiaoxiao's car, while not the shabbiest among them, wasn't considered a luxury car either. So, upon arriving in the open space, it attracted few attention, save for a few unconventional people who recognized her car. "Sister Feng, you're here," the voice came from the fashionable young man who had secretly taken a photo of Lin Yi in the shopping street. "Yes," Feng Xiaoxiao nodded. "Is everything arranged?" "Yes, Sister Feng, I've already made arrangements with Brother Dakin. You'll be competing in the first race," the fashionable young man said quickly. Brother Dakin is the organizer of the underground race, rumored to have some underworld connections, and a top figure in Songshan City. Of course, to Lin Yi, these people are nothing but scum. He can even torture the likes of Li Chihu at will, let alone Brother Dakin, who only has some underworld connections. It was just that Lin Yi didn't want to bother with him. 200,000 was a small sum for Lin Yi, and he didn't bother to go after that big brother and break the rules. "Who's my opponent?" Feng Xiaoxiao nodded. Wearing sunglasses, Feng Xiaoxiao looked like a big sister, which made Lin Yi a little amused. "According to past practice, it should be a newcomer, Sister Feng. I don't mean to look down on you, but this is your first time participating in the competition," the fashionable young man quickly explained. Chapter 1073 Suspicious Opponent. I know, Feng Xiaoxiao didn't care. A newbie was better, and she was only halfway there. If she were to compete against an established competitor, how could she possibly win? This was done for the sake of fairness. Underground race organizers usually paired competitors of equal skill. If the difference in skill was too great, the race would be one-sided, meaningless, and the spectators would lose their enthusiasm. The last class at school ended around 4 o'clock, and Feng Xiaoxiao drove here around 5, leaving only 20 minutes until the 6 o'clock race. The music in the stadium had already begun, and the race was about to begin. First race, TT000, 2B941, both drivers, get ready. Along with the music, the race commentator's voice blared from the speakers. This was a necessary pre-race procedure, inviting the competitors to take their positions. 2B941 2B is you. Feng Xiaoxiao was furious at the number. Wasn't it an obvious insult? By competing against him, she became 2B? Lin Yi smiled, but shrugged nonchalantly. It's just a car number, why bother? Let's go, it's our turn, it's your turn to drive. Feng Xiaoxiao nodded and said to Lin Yi. At this time, the fashionable young man noticed Lin Yi getting out of the passenger seat of the Audi TT. He pointed at Lin Yi in surprise, his eyes wide open. Aren't you the driving expert? Lin Yi nodded at him. Of course, he's my husband now. Feng Xiaoxiao saw the stunned look on the fashionable young man's face, and took Lin Yi's arm with some pride. Sister Feng, you are awesome. If he had competed today, wouldn't he have won for sure? The fashionable young man said flatteringly. That's for sure. Feng Xiaoxiao nodded and got back into the car. Lin Yi drove his car, following Feng Xiaoxiao's instructions, and stopped at the intersection of the winding mountain road. No one paid much attention to Feng Xiaoxiao's Audi TT. After all, the first race was a novice race, so the car couldn't be very good. Feng Xiaoxiao's car looked unmodified, so it probably wouldn't be very impressive. As for the car 2B941, it hadn't arrived yet, and its identity was still unknown. However, Lin Yi, driving the car, was clearly a stranger, while Feng Xiaoxiao, beside him, was a familiar face. The onlookers immediately erupted in excitement, believing Lin Yi to be Feng Xiaoxiao's lucky draw. Around 5:50, a Land Rover Discovery 4 finally arrived, and the car he was photographing was the 2B941. Although the Land Rover was larger, the driver's skill was remarkable. His speed was astonishing, and he drifted the Land Rover to the starting point of the winding mountain road. However, the drift was so intense that it only missed Feng Xiaoxiao's Audi TT by a centimeter or two before stopping. Feng Xiaoxiao was frightened by him and screamed, and broke out in a cold sweat. Feng Xiaoxiao was sitting in the passenger seat at the moment. The Land Rover drifted and almost came close to her, which scared her very much. Feng Xiaoxiao was furious. How could this person drive like this? She opened the car window and glared at the driver of the Land Rover. Do you know how to drive? Why are you so close to me? Hey, girl, you are quite fierce. A bald man wearing sunglasses in the Land Rover also stuck his head out of the driver's seat and looked at Feng Xiaoxiao with a smile. Girl, get in my car. I'll take you for a ride. Get out! Pengzhan Xiao glared at the bald man in anger. The bald man's driving skills were obviously not weak. At least if Pengzhan Xiao competed with him, she would have no chance of winning. Originally, Pengzhan Xiao had agreed to drive, with Lin Yi assisting her. However, seeing the bald man with sunglasses, Pengzhan Xiao knew she was no match for him, so she gave up on driving and said to Lin Yi, "Lin Yi, you should drive for a while. This bald idiot seems quite formidable. Hey, little girl, how do you know I'm capable? You haven't tried it yourself? Why don't you come with me tonight? I promise to make you ecstatic," the bald man with sunglasses said, looking at Pengzhan Xiao with a lewd expression. "It's okay. I'll hold you while you drive," Lin Yi smiled at Pengzhan Xiao. "Hold me while you drive." Pengzhan Xiao stared at Lin Yi with wide eyes, a look of disbelief on her face. Racing is already a dangerous thing, and Lin Yi actually dared to hold her while driving? How dangerous was that? Was Lin Yi trying to cheer her up? Even if Lin Yi was just joking, Pengzhan Xiao's heart was filled with joy and sweetness. Lin Yi was willing to disregard danger in order to make himself happy, which moved Pengzhan Xiao to tears. "No, that's too dangerous." Pengzhan Xiao shook her head. "What if the car crashes and people die? It's not dangerous?" Lin Yi shook his head indifferently and said with a smile, "I haven't even played 3 rounds with you yet. How can I die?" Although Pengzhan Xiao was usually very bold and often said some shocking things, when Lin Yi said this, Pengzhan Xiao felt a little embarrassed. Her face turned red and she said shyly, "Really? It's not dangerous?" "Believe me." Lin Yi got out of the car and walked to Pengzhan Xiao's side. He found that the Land Rover was parked too close, and Pengzhan Xiao couldn't even open the door. Lin Yi frowned and knocked on the Land Rover's window, saying impatiently, "Move aside. Get out of the way. Who are you, pretty boy?" The bald man with sunglasses was clearly annoyed by Lin Yi's sudden exit and shouting. He glared at Lin Yi but ignored his request. "I told you to move your car, didn't you hear?" Lin Yi didn't want to argue, but his intransigence irritated him. The bald man with sunglasses rolled the window, looking completely indifferent, not taking Lin Yi seriously. "Fuck him. Fuck him," the young people watching roared. This kind of passionate spectacle was their favorite. Racing was a common occurrence, but it was rare for a fight to break out before the race even started. "Wow, beat him," the others chimed in. Lin Yi ignored the shouting. Seeing the bald man in sunglasses still didn't move, he raised his leg and kicked the Land Rover. Bang, bang, 2 muffled thuds, and the front of the Land Rover was immediately kicked sideways by Lin Yi, leaving 2 huge dents on the front. Hoo-ha! Lin Yi's actions immediately drew cheers from the spectators. Chapter 1074: A Powerful Way. They had seen powerful people before, but they had never seen someone as powerful as Lin Yi. He kicked the car open without even moving it. The bald man with sunglasses looked a little gloomy. He hadn't expected Lin Yi to be so powerful, and he seemed to be a master. A trace of haze flashed across his eyes, but it was because of the sunglasses that others couldn't see the change in his expression. Seeing Lin Yi kick his car open, the bald man with sunglasses didn't continue to curse, nor did he get out of the car to ask for a fight. Instead, he fell into deep thought. Could this man be Pengzhan Xiao's bodyguard? The situation was a bit complicated. The onlookers saw that the bald man with sunglasses didn't react at all after Yang Ming kicked his car, and he still stayed in the car without moving. They immediately laughed sarcastically. This was a naked provocation. His car was kicked, but he didn't even dare to make a sound. Is he still a man? Coward, how pathetic. With this much you're capable of, you still come out and pretend. Where's your courage just now? Didn't you call him a gigolo? Do you dare to call him that again? That's right, who's a gigolo? He's just masculine and handsome. Don't look at you with a big bald head. You look fierce, but you're useless. You're the weak gigolo, you're really an idiot. Facing the verbal abuse from the onlookers, the bald man with sunglasses was about to explode with rage, but he still endured it. Now is not the time to get angry. This opportunity was hard-earned. He couldn't ruin the game because of his anger. Lin Yi glanced at the bald man with sunglasses in the Land Rover indifferently, and a barely perceptible smile crossed his lips. The strange behavior of the bald man with sunglasses had made Lin Yi a little suspicious. He kicked his car, but he didn't react at all. This was not the behavior of a normal person. Moreover, this was a bit inconsistent with the bald man with sunglasses' previous arrogant personality. Lin Yi's suspicions also frustrated a bald man with sunglasses. He could see Lin Yi's doubts, but there was nothing he could do. Previously, he'd tried to appear more like a hoodlum racing here, employing the same tactics and tone that hoodlums used to flirt with young women, to blend in with the crowd. However, he hadn't expected the man next to Pengzhan Group to be so aggressive, getting off the car and kicking it after a few words. He was a complete and utter violent man. The bald man with sunglasses wondered where Pengzhan Group had found this man, and why was he so aggressive? But it was too late to regret it now. The bald man with sunglasses didn't want to clash with Lin Yi just yet. If the two of them started fighting before the race, it would undoubtedly affect the race later. What if the organizers cancelled the race or separated the two? That wasn't what the bald man with sunglasses wanted to see. He had waited so long for this opportunity, and Pengzhan Group had finally hit his strengths, and he wasn't about to give up. Being suspected and insulted didn't matter now, as long as it didn't affect the normal progress of the race and I achieved my goal, it was fine. Fortunately, after Lin Yi glanced at him and saw that he didn't get out of the car, he ignored him. Instead, he opened Pengzhan Group's door and let her out. Pengzhan Group frowned at the Land Rover beside her. The Land Rover's displacement was more than double that of her Audi TT. Racing against such a car, wouldn't she be losing? Furthermore, this mountain road was in disrepair, giving the Land Rover an advantage. The Audi TT was clearly at a disadvantage on this kind of track. Lin Yi, husband, how about we request a different race? His car, Pengzhan Group asked worriedly, glancing at the bald man in sunglasses Land Rover. It's okay, Lin Yi said calmly. Under normal circumstances, he would have listened to Pengzhan Group's advice, but now, Lin Yi felt that there was something fishy about this bald man in sunglasses and naturally wanted to see what his intentions were. Lin Yi adjusted the driver's seat so that two people could sit. Lin Yi got in first, then said to Pengzhan Group, get in. Seeing Lin Yi's confidence, Pengzhan Group naturally got in without hesitation. This meant that Lin Yi was actually driving with her in his arms. You know, this was a very dangerous move. Even if it wasn't a race car, it would be dangerous and prohibited on ordinary roads. But Lin Yi chose to use it in a race car, which was even more dangerous. Oh, the onlookers exclaimed in surprise. Although they had seen some more challenging racing behaviors, such as a male driver driving while the beautiful woman in the passenger seat masturbated him, that was child's play compared to Lin Yi's. This kind of driving method, with 4 hands and 4 feet clasped together, could result in a car crash and a fatality if there was any mismatch in coordination. Naturally, these onlookers also enjoyed excitement, and seeing Lin Yi's boldness, they cheered excitedly. The bald man in sunglasses in the Land Rover naturally saw this scene, and a strange look flashed across his eyes. He had never expected Lin Yi to pull such a dangerous move, but it was a good thing, as it saved him a lot of energy. This way, Pengzhan Group's car would be even more likely to lose control. However, how Lin Yi raced, whether it was dangerous or life-threatening, was not of concern to the onlookers. Whether Lin Yi lived or died was of no concern to them. This racetrack saw many car crashes and deaths every year, but even if someone died, no one would break the rules and report the incident publicly. Everyone, be quiet. The race is about to begin, the organizer's voice rang out again from the speakers in the square in front of the mountain. A man who looked like a referee, holding a small flag, walked over and stood not far from the Audi TT and the Land Rover. When he waves the flag, we can start, Pengzhan Group explained to Lin Yi. How do we do it? I'll control the accelerator after the brakes, and I'll hold your hand on the steering wheel, Lin Yi said. Okay, no problem, Pengzhan Group nodded excitedly. In fact, this is not much different from Lin Yi's own operation, it's just a little more dangerous. However, Lin Yi just wanted Pengzhan Group to experience the speed of being a racing driver, so he resorted to this last resort. Pengzhan Group also liked this way of operation. She squeezed her body into Lin Yi's arms again. The feeling of being held in Lin Yi's arms made Pengzhan Group very comfortable. She and Lin Yi usually didn't have any intimate actions except holding hands. Today was the first time. The beautiful girl Lan Ze's very pure and ambiguous new book Treasure Hunting Special Forces, book number 2,226,273. Chapter 1075, The Conspiracy Against Pengzhan Group. Don't move, Feng Xiaoxiao in his arms caused Lin Yi to have some physical reactions, and Lin Yi immediately frowned with a wry smile. Oh, Feng Xiaoxiao was stunned, and then she felt something hard pressing against her buttocks. She immediately understood why Lin Yi didn't let her move. Feng Xiaoxiao's cheeks turned red, but she was very happy in her heart. Although Feng Xiaoxiao and Lin Yi had become boyfriend and girlfriend, there was a certain sense of forcing Lin Yi in this. If Tang Yun hadn't been generous and fulfilled the bet, Feng Xiaoxiao and Lin Yi wouldn't be able to have such a relationship now. So Feng Xiaoxiao had always worried that Lin Yi didn't like her very much, but now it seemed that this worry was unnecessary, because Lin Yi was still very interested in her. How about we try it in the car? Feng Xiaoxiao suddenly said something very bold. What are you talking about? Are you trying to kill yourself? Lin Yi was immediately amused after hearing Feng Xiaoxiao's words. Feng Xiaoxiao's idea is quite earth-shattering. Even if Lin Yi was very powerful, he wouldn't dare to do such a thing. Would that be courting death? I saw someone did this when they were racing before, Feng Xiaoxiao said a little embarrassedly. And then, Lin Yi asked. And then they were all killed, Feng Xiaoxiao said a little embarrassedly. You still want to try after you're killed? Lin Yi immediately glared at Feng Xiaoxiao unhappily. I thought you were more powerful, aren't you a Zhuan level master? It is said that you have ki to protect your body, Feng Xiaoxiao said, sticking out her tongue. Who would care about ki at that time? Lin Yi shook his head, just race well. If you want to race, enjoy the speed passion brought by racing, and don't think about other things, okay? Feng Xiaoxiao thought about it and it was true. It would be better to do that at home. It would be better to enjoy the fun of racing here. Isn't this what she has always dreamed of? After Feng Xiaoxiao's outburst, Lin Yi's lust subsided. He started the car, held Feng Xiaoxiao's hand on the steering wheel with his left hand, and embraced her with his right. He said to her, go wherever I tell you to steer. Follow my instructions, okay? Feng Xiaoxiao nodded. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, the countdown began over the speakers. As the number 1 was called, the referee waved his flag. The Audi TT and the Land Rover shot out almost simultaneously, like sharp swords. However, on the straight road before the mountain road, the Audi TT had a clear gap to the Land Rover. After a few hundred meters, the gap between the two cars gradually widened. The Land Rover was moving very fast, quickly surpassing the Audi TT by a wide margin. What's the point of having a good car? Feng Xiaoxiao gritted her teeth in anger, gripping the steering wheel tightly, but she was powerless. There was nothing she could do. Her car wasn't as good as theirs. How? Lin Yi hugged Feng Xiaoxiao's right hand and patted her, signaling her to calm down. Feng Xiaoxiao was so excited that Lin Yi accidentally patted her chest. Lin Yi felt a little embarrassed. It really wasn't intentional. But Feng Xiaoxiao didn't seem to mind at all, constantly shouting, drive, drive. Speed up, speed up. Lin Yi smiled faintly and said nonchalantly, don't worry. His car is big, and once we get on the winding mountain road, he'll be at a disadvantage. The winding mountain road was difficult to navigate, and the Land Rover had some advantages. Off-road vehicles are much better than sports cars on this kind of road. However, the road, while bumpy, was full of sharp turns, and this was where the small car's advantage came into play again. Although the Land Rover had a large displacement, not braking on this kind of road would be tantamount to seeking death. So Lin Yi wasn't worried about the Land Rover's current lead. Although the Land Rover was ahead, it wasn't easy. The bald man with sunglasses kept an eye on the Audi TT behind him in the rearview mirror as he drove. He didn't want to put too much distance between him and Lin Yi and the others, so he didn't drive at full speed. Otherwise, with a 2-kilometer buffer from here to the winding mountain road, he could easily have driven at 300. Ding-ling-ling, a cell phone rang, and the bald man with sunglasses answered the call. Hello, the bald man with sunglasses answered the call while driving, his expression extremely calm. It was obvious that he didn't seem to care about such a competition. Third brother, why do I see a man in Feng Xiaoxiao's car? What does that man do? A man's voice came from the phone. Second brother, that man seems to be the bodyguard Feng Xianlong hired for Feng Xiaoxiao. The bald man with sunglasses murmured for a moment and said, he seems to have some skills. Of course, it's not ruled out that he is Feng Xiaoxiao's boyfriend. They look very close. Oh, then let's take him down together. Third brother, are you sure? the man called second brother said after a moment of hesitation. Don't forget my background. I'm a retired F1 racer, the bald man with sunglasses said calmly. I was planning to take them out too. Blame him for getting involved with Feng Xianlong's daughter. I believe in your driving skills. I've got a helicopter ready and waiting at the top of the mountain. If you succeed, I'll have it pick you up, the second brother said. Okay, we're about to turn. Anyway, I need to find a chance to take them out, the bald man with sunglasses said. But for now, I'm going to wait for these two idiots. If I'd known they were racing in a small displacement sports car like this, I would have bought a different car. The bald man with sunglasses had read Feng Xiao's profile and knew she usually drove an Audi TT, but he figured she'd be driving something better for the race. But the bald man was clearly wrong. Feng Xiao still raced in her own Audi TT. As Lin Yi had predicted, the Land Rover slowed noticeably after entering the winding mountain road. Accelerating on a road like this is essentially courting death, unless you're an expert, of course. Of course, Lin Yi is an expert at this, but Lin Yi suspects the bald man with sunglasses is also an expert. If he wasn't an expert, that perfect drift before the race wouldn't be something an average person could pull off. The distance and speed were perfectly controlled. A little more and Feng Xiao's car would have crashed into it, and a little less and the front of the car wouldn't have been straight. It's safe to say that before the drift, the Land Rover driver had calculated the angle and position to achieve this effect. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone, see you in the next video.